Yes, good morning, all of you.
Good morning, sir. Sir, तुमची स्क्रीन
one minute.
हे झाली ब्लॅक झाली सर.
Okay, okay. Within 1 minute, we will start the session. Yes, आता दिसते का screen? Anyone
Yes,
tell
sir.
me?
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Good morning, all of you. Today we will discuss regarding research report. What is a research report? Characteristics of research report, and which
Sir.
norms and standards? Yes, yes, sir.
सर पुन्हा गेली स्क्रीन. बहुतेक तुम्ही
Okay.
स्लाइड शो केला की ते पुन्हा हे ब्लॅक होत आहे.
Laptop.
हा आता दिसत आहे आता.
Okay. Huh. Yes. So today we discuss regarding research report, characteristics of research report, norms and standards of research report, evaluation parameters, which evaluation parameters generally use in evaluation process. What was the norms and standards of evaluation process? Generally, what is a research report? Concept of research report, characteristics of a research report, and which standards generally used in a research report writing. What was the norms and standard? Swami Ramanand Tirth University used norms and standard. This norms and standard, what was related to standardized process and norms and standard process. Firstly, we discuss regarding research report, meaning of research report, concept of research report definition. Generally, a research report are recorded data presently by a research scholar. It is called a research report. Whatever may be a systematic data analysis presented by a researcher through a statistical parameters or statistically after analyzing information, gathering research report, whatever may be qualitative methods or quantitative methods generally used at the presentation of a research report. Means as far as the concern of research area, qualitative methods or survey research methods or quantitative research methods, that systematic analysis research step by step article or a orderly presented a research work in the form of written, it is called a research report. Means whatever may be your research thesis, research dissertations, or funding research report or financial research report. These are the types of research report generally used in a research research process. And third definition is a research report is a research document. All research project elements typically or topologically a written form. That format is called a research report. Generally, these are the various structure used in a research report. As far as the concern of what was the purpose of your research report, published research report, financial research report, degree research report, these are the main purpose of a research report. Generally, each and every research report divided into three sectors, three sections. Generally, dissertation or thesis divided into three sections. Means dissertation has considered as a primary section, main body, or reference section. Means A means primary sections, means primary sections, B means a main body of research report, and C is a reference sections. Means each and every research report divided into three parts. First part is considered as the authenticity of your research report. Means what was the originality, authenticity, research center, researcher name, research guide, research area, what was the purpose of research report, that all indicate in the primary sections. Means primary section of research report, means primary sections of the research report. And main body, that was the B section of research report. Main body of research report divided into minimum 5 chapters, maximum as per as the concern of your research area. Researcher enhance the research chapter schemes. Means sometimes 7, sometimes 9, sometimes 11 chapters may be including in a main body of research report as per as the concern of your faculty, which was the your researcher belong from which faculty, and which research report design was used in a research report structure. And third one is a C sections, means a reference sections, means which types of reference. Generally AP, MLA, Chicago, these are the popular reference styles. So many reference styles was used in research report, but these are the three was reference style is a very popular, generally used in a various popular research methods or various popular research report. These are the three sections of research report. Means whatever may be your PG dissertation, MPhil desert thesis, or PhD thesis, postdoc thesis, or sometime UGC major research project, minor research projects, various research funding agencies research report divided into three sectors. First sectors, primary sectors, main body of research report, and C is the reference section. And after the reference section, appendix, these are the not including in your research report elements. These are the supporting elements of research report, means authenticity of research report. What was the purpose of primary sections or primary sections of research report? What was the objectives and what was the characteristics of primary sectors of research report, and main body of research report, and a reference material? These are the elements generally used in a primary sections of research report or primary sections of research report. Your first page, title page, certifications of authenticity, means research certificate, research center certifications, research guide certifications, and research scholar declarations, candidate declarations. And yes, any difficulty? आवाज येतो का माझा? आकाश जी, is it audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. These are the elements of primary sections of research report. म्हणजे प्राथमिक घटकाचे हे काय सर्व घटक आहेत. Title page, certification, candidate declarations, or acknowledgement, table, number of table content, list of table, number of content table use, list of figures, list of abbreviations. These are the elements generally used in a primary sections. Generally, title page means as per the concern of your university norms and standards. What was the format of title page, and which norms and standards generally used in a various disciplinary research scholars? Our university norms and standard. First title page, that is a single color page or double color page, may be used as per the concern of researcher views. Or font size, which font size generally used in a title page or middle page or content page. Certifications, format of certifications, declaration of a candidate, we deeply studied in next slide. Yes, these are the elements of primary sectors or primary sections. What, who, why, who, whom, when. This type of question answer generally reflect in a primary sectors or primary elements of the research report, isn't it? Means first section, section number A, that find out the answer regarding the what type of question, W type of question, what, why, who, whom, when. This type of questions generally answered the primary elements of research report. Means a doctor of philosophy or master of technology or master degree or doctor degree, whatever may be. Why? What means the research area? I mean fulfillment of your degree. And whom means researcher name, research student name of the student, roll number, whatever may be, or under the guidance of supervisor means whom the कुठले असतील की डॉक्टर मराठी सर ते सुपरवायझर आहेत तुमचे, नेम ऑफ युअर रिसर्च गाईड. अँड रिसर्च सेंटर व्हेन मीन्स सायन्स कॉलेज नांदेड, जसं ते इंडियन इन्स्टिट्यूट ऑफ टेक्नॉलॉजी बॉम्बे, year of that publication म्हणजे रिसर्च रिपोर्ट. that type of questions answer the primary sectors. म्हणजे कोणत्याही रिसर्च रिपोर्टचं हे WH वाटले जे प्रश्न आहेत त्याचं उत्तर देण्याचं काम हे रिसर्च रिपोर्टचं प्रायमरी सेक्टर्स म्हणजे प्राथमिक विभाग हा जो आहे हा करत असतो. मीन्स each and every research report WH question answer the primary sectors, isn't it? Means this type of means title page, certifications, candidate declarations, acknowledgement, table of content, list of table, a list of figure, list of abbreviations, generally which types of short form or coding and decoding generally use in your research report, that is called your abbreviations, means short form, means WHO, means worldwide, whatever may be, www, that type of short form you have to use in your research report, that is a list of abbreviations, isn't it? Means all that indicate in a primary sections or preliminary sections. Means sometime authentications of your research report means year of research report, research center, research guide name, researcher name, and what was the fulfillment of master degree or doctoral degree or MPhil degree or postdoctoral degree, or sometime some financial research report. Means whom, why, what, that type of ask question in a primary sectors, isn't it? And next one is a main body of research report. This one is main body, generally divided into 5 chapters. Means all research report or all researcher generally minimum 5 chapter is essential as per the concern of our university norms and standard. Maybe enhance your research report chapter schemes as per as the concern of your disciplinary, but minimum 5 chapters is essential, isn't it? The main body of research report. Yes, Bhagyashree ji, any question?
No sir, no.
तर हा जो आहे मध्य विभाग आहे, मेन बॉडी ऑफ रिसर्च रिपोर्ट म्हणजे संशोधनाचा मध्य विभाग, संशोधन अहवालाचा मध्य विभाग त्याला असं म्हणतो आपण. मेन बॉडी ऑफ रिसर्च रिपोर्ट डिवाइडेड into 5 chapters. First chapter is introduction of your research report. These are the elements of generally used in first chapters, isn't it? Means 1.0 that indicate the coding and decoding. 1.1 पहिल्या चॅप्टर मधला पहिला पॉइंट आहे. 1.1 indicate the first chapter first point. 1.2 indicate the first chapter second point. 1.3 indicate the first chapter third point. That type of coding and decoding generally used at the time of research report presenting, isn't it? Introduction, that is what was the introduction of your research report, that was reflected in chapter number first. Background of the research studies means what was the current situation of your study, or what was the background of your study, means national level position, international level position, local level background, that type of research background you have to reflect in chapter number first. Statement of your research report, that was the first chapter elements. Means you have to use a minimum words and useful and different and attractive words you have to use in your statement of your research problem. Means problem statement means minimum words, useful words, and meaningful words you have to use in your statement of your research problem or research statement. Yes, Khanji, any question?
No sir, sorry, वो on किया था.
Okay. Means sometime dual meanings or multi meanings words you have to avoid in your statement of your research problem. जसं आता दादा खोंडकेचे जे आहेत अनेक अर्थ शब्द जे आहेत हे असे आपल्याला अवॉइड करावे लागतात. ड्युअल मिनिंग और मल्टिपल मीनिंग्स वर्ड्स आर नॉट useful in your statement of your research problem. Means very clearly clearful meanings or simple words or attractive words you have to use in the statement of your research problem. म्हणजे कुठलीही जे आहे एखादी बातमी असेल जर आकर्षक बातमीचं टायटल असेल तर आपण काय करतो संपूर्ण बातमी वाचवतो की सेम वे की यू हॅव टू यूज अ अट्रॅक्टिव्ह वर्ड्स at the time of forming your ideal research statement, isn't it? Different fancy attractive words you have to use in your statement of your research problem, and minimum words you have to use means 13 to 17 17 ते 13 ते 17 किंवा 22 पर्यंत शब्द तुम्ही तुम्हाला तुमच्या स्टेटमेंट ऑफ रिसर्च प्रॉब्लेम मध्ये वापरू शकता, isn't it? These are the standard formats of your research statement as per the concern of guidelines of your PhD guidelines of Swami Ramanand Tirth Marathwada University Nanded, that was used in a statement of your research problems. And next one is 1.3 scope, purpose and aims and objective of your research study. What was the scope and purpose of your research title, research area, and what was the aims and objectives you have to formulate in your research study? That was reflect in chapter number first. That was the chapter number first is the all the research synopsis elements, that all research synopsis elements reflect in chapter number first. म्हणजे संशोधन आराखडा जे आहे किंवा रिसर्च सिनॉप्सिस जे घटक आहेत तुम्ही वापरणार आहात ते चॅप्टर नंबर फर्स्ट मध्ये आहेत. मीन्स ॲज पर द कन्सर्न ऑफ युअर पर्पज अँड युअर रिसर्च ऑब्जेक्टिव्स, that all research objectives reflect in your research statement. Means each and every angle of your research statement that was reflect in your research objectives. Means research statement are different and research objective are different. Means that controversy reflect in your research objective and your research statement that was not suitable, isn't it? Means as per the concern of your research area, your research title, whatever may be angles you have to study, that all angles reflect in your aims and objectives. Means your aims and objective totally depend on the your research statement. तुमच्या समस्या विधानावर तुमचे ध्येय व उद्दिष्ट हे अवलंबून असलं गरजेचं आहे. Means your research aims and objective that totally depend on the your research statement that is needed. हे गरजेचं आहे. And next one is research questions. Research questions are research hypothesis, isn't it? That similar terminology, generally different terminology use. Sometimes some research was use research hypothesis, some researcher use research questions, some researcher use research assumption. Assumptions are different concept and research hypothesis are different concept. Assumption means a research universal truth of the whatever may be a previous research result, that considered as a research assumption, isn't it? And research hypothesis or research question, that terms are different, isn't it? Listen carefully. Means research questions or research hypothesis that was not true, sometime may be a true or sometime may be a false, isn't it? But assumption is a totally 100% true. Means previous research result that was used as a research assumption in at the formulation of your research synopsis, that time a review of related literature that was helpful, that was play a role of your research assumptions. Means assumptions means previous research result that was used as a review of related literature. Means research questions, which how many research questions you formulate you use in your research process, and what type of research questions, means what type of research hypothesis you have to formulate in your research process, that was reflect in 1.4. Means whatever may be that sequence may be changed as per the concern of your research design, your research synopsis, your research subject. Means that 1.4 is different, 1.5 is different, but that sequence may be different. But these are the elements of introduction, means chapter number first. म्हणजे हे पहिल्या प्रकरणातील हे घटक आहेत. संशोधन अहवालातील पहिल्या प्रकरणातील हे जे घटक आहेत, म्हणजे काही जे आहेत जसे बाळ्या, बबल्या, बंट्या असं म्हणतो, ते एकच असतं माणूस, परंतु त्याच्या अनेक नावं असतात. तसं रिसर्च क्वेश्चन असेल, रिसर्च हायपोथिसिस असेल, किंवा टाइप्स ऑफ रिसर्च हायपोथिसिस असतील, किंवा रिसर्च अझम्पशन असतील. दीज आर द terminology generally used in similar conditions. Means which types of research hypothesis you have to use in your research process, that was reflected in chapter number 1 after the research objectives. After the research objectives. And a definition of terms, means which types of terms you have to use in your statement of your research title, that different keywords, like definition of terms means the definition of that keywords. जे महत्वाचे शब्द आहेत त्या शब्दांच्या व्याख्या. जसं you have to see in the previous research paper, that was the keywords, म्हणजे महत्वाचे शब्द जे आहेत. The definition of keywords, the definition of terms, that was reflect in 1.5. बरोबर आहे. म्हणजे कुठली असेल, म्हणजे BMI, बॉडी मास इंडेक्स, that terms you have to use a keywords, isn't it? किंवा मग कुठले असतील की डेन्सिटी असेल, किंवा कुठले जे महत्वाचे शब्द जे कीवर्ड्स आहेत त्या कीवर्ड्सचं जे काही व्याख्या आहे ती व्याख्या तुम्ही काय करणार इथे लिहिणार आहात. डेफिनेशन ऑफ कीवर्ड मीन्स हाऊ मेनी कीवर्ड्स यू हॅव टू यूज इन अ स्टेटमेंट ऑफ युअर रिसर्च टायटल, that all keywords, the meaning of keywords and definition of keywords, that was reflect in the terms of definition of the terms. Means 2, 3, 4 different keywords you have to use at the time of formulating your attractive or ideal research statement or research problem statement, that all keywords, the meaning of keywords, definition of keywords, and which meanings you have to use in your research process, that was reflect in a terms of definition or that keywords terms definition, isn't it? म्हणजे जे काही महत्वाचे शब्द आहेत कुठले असतील की ती शब्द तुमच्या संशोधनामध्ये काय अभिप्रेत आहेत हे तुम्हाला लिहिणं गरजेचं आहे. नेक्स्ट वन, स्कोप अँड सिग्निफिकन्स ऑफ द रिसर्च, लिमिटेशन्स, scope, delimitations and significance of this study, that was the 1.6. means what was the significantness after the research completed. These area I have considered in my research process, that is the limitations, and delimitation means those research area you have to did not consider in your research process, that was the delimitations of your research study. Means significance, these are the areas, these are the content I have considered in my research area, and these are the I have not considered in my research area. Means limitations and delimitations and significance of your research study, that was reflect in introduction or chapter number 1 and the conclusion of that chapter number 1. These are the some elements of first chapters or introduction. That name of the first chapter, that was the introduction, isn't it? Maybe that sequence, the subject to subject may be a change, but the basic element, the introductions, statement of your research problem, research objectives, research questions, terms of that keywords and significance, scope of limitations and delimitations, scope of your studies, these are the all elements generally used in a research report or research synopsis elements. Means you have to cover the 2 long question in that PPTs. म्हणजे तुम्हाला 15 अधिक 15 20 म्हणजे 30 मार्क या एका PPT वर तुमचे कव्हर होतात. की sometime you have analyzed the previous question paper, so many time previous question paper asked what is a research synopsis or explain the elements of research synopsis. That time you have to use that PPT. These are the 7 elements generally used in a research synopsis. The elements of research synopsis. What is research synopsis? Explain the elements of research synopsis. That type of questions asked in previous question. And what is research report? Explain the parameters or norms and standards of research report. And what is research report? Explain the ideal characteristics of ideal research report. That type of questions asked in previous question paper. म्हणजे या स्लाइडवर तुम्हाला 15 मार्काचे प्रश्न तुम्हाला कव्हर करता येतात आणि दोन्ही प्रश्न या ह्याच्यामध्ये तुम्हाला 15 आणि 15 30 मार्क तुम्हाला कव्हर आजच्या सेशन मध्ये होणार आहेत. व्हॉट इज रिसर्च सिनॉप्सिस? एक्सप्लेन द एलिमेंट्स ऑफ रिसर्च सिनॉप्सिस. फक्त काय करायचे, हे 7 पॉइंट पाठ करायचे आणि ते एक्सप्लेन करायचे आणि डेफिनेशन काय करायची, गुगल वरनं ती सर्च करायची, व्हॉट इज रिसर्च सिनॉप्सिस. आणि दुसरा प्रश्न जो आहे, व्हॉट इज रिसर्च रिपोर्ट? एक्सप्लेन द नॉर्म्स अँड स्टँडर्ड्स ऑफ रिसर्च रिपोर्ट. That is one question. And another question, what is the research report? Explain the characteristics of ideal research report. म्हणजे असे 2 प्रकारचे किंवा 3 प्रकारचे प्रश्न विचारलेले आहेत. म्हणजे आजच्या ह्या सेशन मधनं तुम्हाला साधारणतः 15 आणि 15 30 मार्क कव्हर होणार आहेत. म्हणजे 100 नाही 1000% होणार आहे. फक्त तुम्हाला ते डायजेस्ट झाले पाहिजे, ते लिहिता आले पाहिजे. एका स्लाइडवरून तुम्हाला दोन्ही 15 अधिक 15 तुम्हाला कव्हर करता येतात. येस. Any difficulty regarding the main body of research report? Chapter number 1, the elements of that introduction, background of the studies, statement of the research problem, purpose, aims and objective of the studies, research hypothesis, definition of the keywords and significance of the studies, limitations of the studies, and conclusion of the first chapter. Yes. Any difficulty? Are you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
जर लक्षात असेल तर मी काही प्रश्न विचारतो आणि नंतर आपण पुढे जाऊया. ठीक आहे, म्हणजे आपल्याला क्रॉस चेक करू, आपण पुढे जाऊया. एकच मिनिट. यस, नागेश जी, आर यू इन क्लास? नागेश जी.
Yes, sir.
आर यू अंडरस्टैंड?
Yes, sir.
You tell me, what is the research report or section of research report? संशोधन अहवाल म्हणजे काय आणि संशोधन अहवालाचे विभाग मला सांगा. प्रश्न माझा कळला का तुम्हाला? आर यू अंडरस्टँड माय क्वेश्चन? यस. कोण सांगता? एनीवन टेल मी.
Research report is called dissertation or thesis, and
Yes.
it has 3 sections: preliminary section, main body, and reference section.
बरोबर आहे भाग्यश्रीजी, 100% बरोबर आहे. कुठली जी आहे सरळ सरळ लक्षात ठेवायचं, रिसर्च रिपोर्ट मीन्स माहिती संकलित करणे, शास्त्रीय पद्धती विश्लेषण करणे आणि लिखित स्वरूपाचा अहवाल, त्याला संशोधन अहवाल म्हणायचं. मीन्स research data gathering and systematically analyze the research data and present scientifically that content or written form, presently written form, that content is considered as a research report. And each and every research report divided into 3 sections. First one is a primary section, or preliminary sections, main body of research report, and third one is a reference section, isn't it? आणि मेन बॉडी मध्ये आपण बघितलं होतं की चॅप्टर नंबर फर्स्ट इंडिकेट द इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ रिसर्च रिपोर्ट. बरोबर आहे. आता इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ रिसर्च रिपोर्ट मध्ये आनंदजी, यू टेल मी द एलिमेंट्स ऑफ फर्स्ट चॅप्टर, मेन बॉडी फर्स्ट चॅप्टर एलिमेंट्स. यू टेल मी लाउडली. मुळे सर आहेत का वर्गात?
येस सर, येस सर.
समजलं का तुम्हाला? त्याच्यावर 1000% प्रश्न, 2 प्रश्न कव्हर होणार आहेत. आजचे जर तुम्ही सेशन काळजीपूर्वक ऐकलं तर 1000% तुम्ही पास होता. आजचं जर तुमचं मिस झालं किंवा ओमिटिंग झालं लेक्चर तर तुम्ही 100% नापास होतात. आणि ड्रॉपआउट रेट हा 91% पासिंग आहे, 9% रेट हा RM मध्ये ड्रॉपआउट रेट आहे. येस आनंदजी, यू टेल मी द एलिमेंट्स ऑफ फर्स्ट चॅप्टर नंबर फर्स्ट इंट्रोडक्शन लाउडली.
Sir, introduction, background of the study.
Yes.
Problem statement,
Yes.
purpose and objective of the study.
Yes.
Research questions, definition of terms,
Yes.
significance of the study,
Yes.
and conclusion.
शाबास, नाईस. म्हणजे आहे. ठीक आहे, तुम्ही लिहून घ्या, लक्षात ठेवा, स्क्रीनशॉट घ्या, काय करायचे ते करा. पण हे कंपल्सरी तुम्हाला लिहिणं आहे आणि ह्याच्यावर 100% प्रश्न आहे. अगोदरच्या सर्वच प्रश्नपत्रिकेमध्ये हा प्रश्न आहेच. हा प्रश्न कुठल्या प्रकारचा पडेल? व्हॉट इज रिसर्च सिनॉप्सिस? एक्सप्लेन द एलिमेंट्स ऑफ रिसर्च सिनॉप्सिस. असा जरी प्रश्न पडला तर हेच मुद्दे लिहायचे. आणि प्रश्न असा पडू शकतो. नेक्स्ट सेकंड व्यू अँगल ऑफ क्वेश्चन्स. व्हॉट इज रिसर्च रिपोर्ट? एक्सप्लेन द नॉर्म्स अँड स्टँडर्ड्स ऑफ रिसर्च रिपोर्ट और कॅरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ रिसर्च रिपोर्ट. म्हणजे असा जरी प्रश्न आला तरी हे चॅप्टर स्कीम लिहायचे आणि मधले पॉईंट जरी हे तुम्ही डिलीट केले तरी चालतात आणि डीप मध्ये तरी चालतात. ठीक आहे. म्हणजे 15 मार्काला असा किंवा असा एक प्रश्न येणार आहे किंवा दोन्ही प्रश्न एका सेटमध्ये आहेत ते इकडच्या किंवा इकडच्या सुद्धा येऊ शकतात. 30 मार्काला सुद्धा लकी ड्रॉ लागू शकते. ठीक आहे. फक्त आजचं सेशन तुम्ही काळजीपूर्वक ऐकायचं म्हणजे 100% तुम्ही पास होऊ शकता. Next, second chapter of main body of research report. That was second chapter, a review of related literature. Literature review. What was the purpose of a review of related literature? Which types of review generally used in your research report? What was the role of your review in research report? म्हणजे संशोधन साहित्याचा अहवाल म्हणजे the terms generally review of related literatures means whatever may be previous research paper, previous research report, previous research, whatever may be content of previous research report that was used in your second chapter, that is review of related literature. The main purpose of review of related literature to avoid the repetitions of research work. That is the main purpose of your review of related literature. म्हणजे पुनरावृत्ती टाळणे. समजा एखादा रोह मासा आहे, रोह मासावर अगोदर कोणकोणत्या घटकांवर काम झालेलं आहे. You have to avoid the previous research work and you have to select the gap of that previous researcher and budding researcher. म्हणजे त्यांनी जे झालेलं नाहीये भाग तो भाग तुम्हाला शोधायचा आहे. मीन्स यू हॅव टू अवॉइड द रिपिटेशन टर्म्स, रिपिटेशन वर्क, रिपिटेशन्स ऑफ रिसर्च मेथड्स अँड what was the similarities of previous research report and your research report? What was the difference between previous research report and our research areas? म्हणजे सारखेपण काय आहे आणि वेगळेपण काय आहे हे सर्व या दुसऱ्या प्रकरणामध्ये लिहावं लागतं. ठीक आहे. समजा नांदेडच्या 10 लोकांनी त्या रोहू माशावर काम केलेलं आहे किंवा तुमच्या डेन्सिटीवर काम केलेलं आहे किंवा तुमच्या फ्रिक्वेन्सीवर काम केलेलं आहे किंवा एखाद्या ड्रग असेल किंवा एखादा मेडिसिनल प्लांट असेल, त्या मेडिसिनल प्लांटवर कुठल्या कुठल्या लोकांनी काम केलेलं आहे. समजा आता चिली डिसीज असतील म्हणजे मिरचीवरची डिसीज असतील की संपूर्ण जगामध्ये मिरचीवरच्या डिसीजवर कुठले कुठले काम झालेले आहेत हे पाहणं आणि ते अवॉइड करणं. The main purpose of review of related literature to avoid the repeated work, repeated terms, repeated area of your research, hypothesis repetitions, objective research repetitions, research design, keywords. You have to avoid the previous each and every terms. That was the main purpose of second chapters. The introduction of second chapters means review of related literatures. 2.0 that indicate the second chapter 0 point, that is introduction of second chapter. 2.1 that indicate the second chapter first point. Body of the related literatures means review of related literatures, previous research reports, the body of previous research report literatures, a general area of research, isn't it? Previous researcher and our research areas. म्हणजे अगोदर कोणकोणत्या संशोधकांनी या घटकावर काम केलेलं आहे, कुठले असतील. समजा केमिस्ट्री मधला एखादा ड्रग असेल, एखादा सायनाइड असेल किंवा क्लोरोफ्लोरोसल्फोन असेल, या घटकांवर कोणी कोणी काम केलेलं आहे, बरोबर आहे. आणि कोणकोणत्या घटकावर काम केलेलं आहे त्या कंटेंटवर. यू हॅव टू डाउनलोड दॅट ऑल प्रिव्हियस रिसर्च रिव्ह्यू and you have deeply studied previous research review and you have to select the gap, you have to select the remaining work of that previous research reports. म्हणजे ज्यांनी काम केलेलं आहे, जिथं त्याचं काम संपलेलं आहे तिथून पुढे तुम्ही काम घेऊ शकता. These are the sources of your statement of your research report. These are the sources, valid sources of review of related literatures. You find out your new ideas, different ideas and universal ideas, isn't it? या ह्याच्यावर तुम्ही काम करायचं राहिलेलं आहे, isn't it? And find out the understanding the previous research theories, which types of research theories you have that researcher use in your previous research, which types of research objectives, which types of research methods, which types of research questions, and which types of research hypotheses, and different research variables previous researchers use. You have to deeply understand, and that avoid the previous research variables, previous research design, previous research areas, and that was the helpful for your new areas. म्हणजे हे तुम्हाला नवीन क्षेत्रांमध्ये मार्गदर्शन करू शकतात, कारण अगोदरच्यांनी कसं केलेलं आहे, म्हणजे पुढच्या ठेच मागचा शाना असं आपण म्हणतो मराठीमध्ये जी म्हण आहे, तसं अगोदरच्या संशोधकांनी काय काय केलेलं आहे तसं आपल्याला तुमच्या संशोधनामध्ये करावं लागतं. दॅट इज अ मेन पर्पज ऑफ रिव्ह्यू ऑफ रिलेटेड लिटरेचर, इजंट इट? अँड थर्ड वन इज 2.1.3 means which types of research variables used in previous related literatures, and which was the depending variables, independent variables, which types of experimental research design, which types of research hypothesis used in previous researcher. Means you have to avoid previous research variables, means you have to find out new research variables, whatever may be depending variables, independent variables, whatever may be different variables you have to use in your research process. Means all that use previous researcher use variables you have to avoid, and you formulate a new research variables and reflect in your research variables. Means these are the 15th or 16th research variables used in previous review of related literatures, and I have formulated a new, different and difficult research variables, and that research variables I have used in my research process. Means these are the differentness of previous literature and my research areas. That was the strength of your research process or your research report. म्हणजे मी रिपिटेशन टाळलेलं आहे, मी पुनरावृत्ती टाळलेली आहे, त्या घटकावर काम करणं मी टाळलेलं आहे. हा माझा फरक आहे अगोदरच्या घटकातील आणि या माझ्या घटकातील, हा माझा काय फरक आहे. हे काय प्रिव्हियस रिव्ह्यू मधलं किंवा प्रिव्हियस लिटरेचर मधनं तुम्हाला पाहता येतं. रिव्ह्यू आर डिफरंट अँड लिटरेचर आर डिफरंट. These are the two terms generally used in review of related literatures and previous literature. लिटरेचर म्हणजे काय, एखाद्या न्यूजपेपर मध्ये माहिती आलेली आहे, एखाद्या मासिकामध्ये माहिती आलेली आहे, किंवा एखाद्या कॉन्फरन्स मधली माहिती असेल, दॅट कन्सिडर ॲज अ लिटरेचर, दॅट कन्सिडर ॲज अ लिटरेचर. आणि रिव्ह्यू ऑफ रिसर्च रिव्ह्यू लिटरेचर्स म्हणजे काय की रिसर्च रिव्ह्यू पेपर तुम्ही घेतलेले आहेत आणि रिव्ह्यू पेपर मधले काय की तुम्ही रिव्ह्यू तुम्ही तुमच्या ह्याच्यामध्ये वापरणार आहात. म्हणजे रिसर्च रिव्ह्यू, प्रिव्हियस रिसर्चर यूज अ व्हेरियस रिसर्च रिव्ह्यू and that all you have to use as it is. And sometime ki same review means self plagiarism, that concept generally used in review of related literature. आता नवीन कायद्यानुसार सेल्फ प्लॅगरिझम सुद्धा तुमच्या ह्याच्यामध्ये कन्सिडर केलं जाणार आहे. म्हणजे तुम्ही अगोदरचे जेवढे काही रिसर्च पेपर पब्लिश केलेले आहेत ते सुद्धा प्लॅगरिझम मध्ये कन्सिडर होणार आहेत. Isn't it? These are the different research variables, previous research variables and our research variables, comparison between previous research variables and our research variables, and different between previous research variables and our research variables. That is essential. That is the main purpose of review of related literature, isn't it? And 2.2 theoretically framework means which theories, which techniques, which instrument previous researcher use in your research process. Means theoretically framework, whatever may be theoretical framework, means descriptive framework, means experimental framework, means researcher use a exploratory research design, descriptive research design, causal research design. Which types of framework previous researcher use in his research process, and our research design, our theoretically framework, comparison between our design and previous research report designs, previous research theory design and our research theoretical framework. You have to compare between that all and avoid the previous research design as it is designed. म्हणजे समजा एखादा एक्सपेरिमेंट केलेला आहे, अगोदरच्या संशोधकांनी प्रयोग कसा केला तो जशाला तसा तुम्ही करू शकत नाहीये, इजंट इट? म्हणजे त्यांचा आराखडा आणि तुमचा आराखडा किंवा त्यांचा प्रयोग करण्याची पद्धती किंवा जसे केमिस्ट्रीचे जे आहेत ते टायट्रेशनचे वगैरे प्रोसिजर सांगतात की ॲज इट इज प्रोसिजर तुम्हाला वापरता येत नाहीये, की सेम theoretically framework you have not used in your research process. You have to help the previous research theoretically framework, and as per the concern of previous theoretically design of framework, you have to formulate our own research or our own experimental framework. म्हणजे तुम्हाला तुमचं तयार करावं लागतं, स्वतःचं तयार करावं लागतं, त्याची आपण मदत घेऊ शकतो अगोदरच्या संशोधकांच्या किंवा त्याच्या आराखड्याच्या, मी प्रयोग कसा करणार आहे त्याची. ठीक आहे. And previous hypothesis means you have to use a previous hypothesis in your research process. Which types of hypotheses generally used in previous research literatures, and our research hypothesis and previous research hypothesis compare and difference between that hypothesis, and you have to not repeated same variables or same hypothesis you have not used in your research process. That is essential. You have to avoid as it is repetitions of your research hypothesis. The terms of your research variables, you have to different terms and different format you have to use in your research process. Means 2.3 that the compare the previous research hypothesis and our research hypothesis. 2.2 means compare our framework, theoretical framework, our design of your experiment and previous various types of design. You have to compare and you have to difference mention in chapter number 2, and the 2.4 is the conclusion of your research second chapter, means review of related literatures. Means so these are the similarities and these are the difference between, and these are the my uniqueness of my research work. I have reflected in that conclusion. म्हणजे माझं हे संशोधनाचं काम हे रिपीटेड नाहीये किंवा कोणाचं चोरलेलं नाहीये, हे माझं वैयक्तिक आहे, हे तुमच्या दुसऱ्या चॅप्टर मधनं दिसलं पाहिजे. आणि माझा संशोधनाचा विषय, माय रिसर्च एरिया अँड माय रिसर्च टायटल आर डिफरंट अँड डिफिकल्ट as per the concern of previous research review of related literatures. Any difficulty regarding the second chapter of main body? These are the indicate a literature review or review of related literature, same word. आहे काय अडचण याच्यामध्ये? आर यू अंडरस्टँड? समजलं का मेन पर्पज काय आहे सेकंड चॅप्टरचा?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
यस. काही प्रश्न विचारूत आणि आपण पुढे चालूया. यस, जाधव सर, जाधव PS आहेत का वर्गात? gmail.com, please change your device name.
Okay, sir. Okay.
जाधव सर आहेत का वर्गात? यस, राधिका जी.
Hello. Yes, sir. I am in the class.
Okay. Any difficulty regarding chapter number second, review of related literature? You tell me the elements of second chapter.
Yes, sir. First one is introduction.
Yes.
Second one, body of the literature.
Yes.
Under that, general area of research.
Yes.
Underlying theory.
Huh.
Variables used from previous literature.
Yes.
Then
right.
theoretical framework.
Yes.
Hypothesis.
Yes.
And last one is conclusion.
Conclusion. Yes. Comparison between hypothesis, previous hypothesis. बरोबर आहे, तुमचं 100% लक्ष आहे असं गृहीत धरायला हरकत नाही. हा, आता परीक्षा होईपर्यंत तुम्ही किती लक्षात ठेवतात हा भाग वेगळा आहे, पण सध्या तरी तुमच्या लक्षात आहे. येस. थर्ड चॅप्टर, रिसर्च मेथडॉलॉजी, मेथड्स अँड मटेरियल्स. That term generally used in basic sciences research scholar, and humanities or commerce and management research methods or research methodology. That terms generally used in chapter number 3, methods and materials. In chapter number 3, 3.0, the introduction, and 3.1, research design. which research design you have to use in our research process. In second chapter, previous research design and our research design comparison and between. In chapter number 3, which research design you have to use in our own research process, that was reflect in your chapter number 3, that is research design. And how many research variables you have to use in your research process, and what was the norms and standards of measurement you have to mention in chapter number 3.2. Means about 2, 3, 4, 5 research variables you have to use in your research process, and these are the norms and standards of measuring our impact of one dependent variables on independent variables. That norms and standards of measurement I have used in my research process. म्हणजे तुम्ही रिसर्च व्हेरिएबल्स कोणकोणते वापरलेले आहेत किंवा इम्पॅक्ट कसा तुम्ही मापणार आहात, कुठले असेल. समजा प्लांट ग्रोथ कशी झालेली आहे, बॅक्टेरियल ग्रोथ कशी झालेली आहे, म्हणजे कुठलं मेजरमेंट वापरलेलं आहे, इजंट इट, किंवा कुठलं इन्स्ट्रुमेंट वापरलेलं आहे. म्हणजे समजा एखादं WBC वाढल्यात, किती कमी झाल्यात, की तुम्ही ब्लड चेक केलेला आहे, तो रिपोर्ट म्हणजे काय, की मेजरमेंट नॉर्म्स अँड स्टँडर्ड्स यू हॅव टू यूज. किंवा मग टेम्परेचरसाठी काय, तुम्ही थर्मामीटर काय वापरलेलं आहे, मेजरमेंट नॉर्म्स अँड स्टँडर्ड वापरलेलं आहे. तसं व्हॉट एव्हर मे बी युअर रिसर्च व्हेरिएबल्स, हाऊ मेनी रिसर्च व्हेरिएबल्स यू हॅव टू कन्सिडर in your research process, and what was the measuring norms and standards of research variables, and what was the instrument or what was the procedure you have to follow the impact measuring the one dependent variables on another variables, isn't it? Means how many research variables you have to use, and what was the norms and standards you have to you have to implement in your research process. That was reflect in 3.2. And 3.3, questionnaire research design. Suppose you have to use the questionnaires as a research tool. As far as the concern of suppose observation, you have to use observation, questionnaires, interviews, schedule, checklist. These are the data collection research tools. One question asked maybe in each and every examination. As far as the examination views, these are the research tools is very essential. These are the 4 research tools. 100% questions may be asked on a research tools. What is questionnaires, types of questionnaires, characteristic of questionnaires. Second one is observation, definition of observation, types of observation, what is the merits and demerits of observation, and types of observation. And third one is the interview. Definition of interview, characteristics of interview, types of interview, what was the merits and demerits of interview. This type of research tools, various qualitative research tools and quantitative research tools you have to use. How many research tools you have to use in your research process, that was reflect in chapter number 3. What type of research tools you have to use in your research process, or what type of instrument you have to use, also that instrument you have to use that reflect in 3.3. Suppose I have used 3 or 4 research instrument, methods and materials. Means 3.3 means questionnaire research design. As far as the concern of our research process, I was not use a questionnaire. I was use observation. I was use some different instrument. That instrument, that research tools that mentioned in 3.3. म्हणजे तुम्ही माहिती कशाच्या आधारे संकलित केलेली आहे, that consider as a research tools. त्याला आपण संशोधन साधन म्हणतो. मी समजा इथं NMR यूज केला असेल, किंवा SPLC यूज केला असेल, किंवा IR यूज केला असेल. That type of research instrument I have used that mentioned in 3.3. म्हणजे असं नाही की फक्त मी प्रश्नावलीच, इथं प्रश्नावली हे आर्ट साइडचे जे विद्यार्थी आहेत ते वापरतात, सायन्सचे फार कमी वापरतात, सायन्सचे वापरतात फार कमी वापरतात. ठीक आहे, की तिथं तुम्हाला काय हे सर्व कॉमन मुलांसाठी PPT तयार केलेली आहे. त्याच्यामुळे that 3.3 that was use a research tools design. How many research tools you have used, and what was the design you have to use that research tools design, that was reflect in 3.3. म्हणजे मी एखादा इन्स्ट्रुमेंट वापरला असेल, टूल्स वापरला नसेल, किंवा मी 2 किंवा 3 रिसर्च टूल्स वापरलेले आहेत, ऑब्झर्वेशन वापरलेले आहे, क्वेश्चनरी वापरलेले आहे आणि एखादं इन्स्ट्रुमेंट वापरलेलं आहे. That was also happen in your research, various types of research process. Means in one research process, various types of research, qualitative or quantitative research tools researcher use at the time of research data collections, isn't it? किंवा मग कुठले असेल की कधी मी सीसीटीव्हीचं रेकॉर्ड केलेलं असेल, किंवा मग काय केलंय की ते ग्रोथ मापलेली आहे, किंवा कुठले एखादे नवीन टेक्निक्स वापरलेली आहे, किंवा नवीन इन्स्ट्रुमेंट वापरलेलं आहे. ठीक आहे, म्हणजे ते इन्स्ट्रुमेंट सुद्धा काय रिसर्च टूल्स होऊ शकते. किंवा माझ्या बॉडीमध्ये किती ऑक्सिजन आहे, एखादा ऑक्सिमीटर वापरला असेल तर तिथं तुम्ही 3.3 मध्ये लिहू शकता, isn't it? And 3.4, the research population and research sample, that was the elements of research methods. Means which types of research population you have to use in your research population, in your research process. Means homogeneous research population, heterogeneous research population, countable research population, finite research population, infinite research population. Which types of research population you have to use, that was reflect in 3.4. And what type of research sampling techniques you have to use in your research process, that was mentioned in 3.4. Means you have to use probability sampling methods or non-probability sampling methods. Mean purposefully sampling methods, whatever may be judgmental sampling methods, whatever may be sampling methods, you have to use that sampling techniques, that sampling methods reflect in chapter number 3.4. म्हणजे तुमच्या संशोधनाचा एरिया कोणता आहे, तुमचं पॉप्युलेशन कोणतं आहे आणि तुमचं सॅम्पल कसं निवडलं आहे हे सर्व तुम्हाला लिखित स्वरूपामध्ये लिहावं लागतं. Means these are the my research considerable area that was considered as a research population, and these are my sample area. And as per the concern of sample selection methods, I was use a probability sampling methods or non-probability sampling methods. In probability sampling methods, I was use a systematic sampling methods. Means that deeply write a systematic sampling methods, characteristic of systematic sampling methods, merits and demerits of systematic sampling methods, that was reflect in 3.4, isn't it? म्हणजे तुम्ही कोणकोणत्या घटकांचा विचार तुमच्या संशोधनामध्ये करणार आहात आणि सॅम्पल किती घेणार आहात. समजा मी केमिस्ट्रीचा विद्यार्थी आहे आणि मी 2 ड्रगवर काम करणार आहे, मग त्या 2 ड्रगवर किती प्रमाण घेणार आहे, सॅम्पल घेणार आहे. म्हणजे 10 मायक्रोग्राम, 5 मायक्रोग्राम, 20 मायक्रोग्राम, मिलीग्राम, जे काय असेल ते. That was the sampling techniques. I was use a systematic sampling techniques, isn't it? म्हणजे कुठले असेल, एखादा IR काढायचा असेल तर मग मी किती सॅम्पल घेतलेला आहे, किंवा मग मला काय करायचंय की मेथड स्टेबिलिटी करायचंय, किंवा मला मेथड व्हॅलिडेशन करायचंय की 1.4 चा फ्लो घेतलेला आहे का 0.12 चा फ्लो घेतलेला आहे SPLC वर, तो जो फ्लो आहे तो सॅम्पलिंग साईज म्हणून तुम्हाला कन्सिडर करावा लागतो. And next one is 3.5. 3.5 means scope of your study. म्हणजे काय तुमचं भविष्य आहे, काय ह्याच्यामध्ये आहे का आफ्टर द PhD, व्हॉट वॉज द स्कोप ऑफ युअर रिसर्च स्टडी. काही फायदा आहे का, किंवा बाकीच्यांना काही सोसायटीला फायदा आहे का, किंवा बाकी काही लोकांना फायदा आहे, किंवा तुमच्या नॉलेज सिस्टीम मध्ये फायदा होणार, किंवा ऍट द एंड ऑफ युअर रिसर्च रिपोर्ट you have to create a new knowledge of your discipline or subject. Means what was the scope of your research study area, what was the merits of your research study area, that was reflect in a scope of your research study. म्हणजे काय फायदा आहे. ठीक आहे, मला PhD मिळाली, 4 इन्क्रीमेंट मिळाले, हा मला फायदा झाला, पण समाजासाठी काय फायदा आहे, किंवा त्या विषयासाठी काय फायदा आहे, काही स्कोप आहे का, हे सुद्धा तुम्हाला पाहावं लागेल. That was mentioned in 3.5. That was the scope and limitations of the research study. And 3.6, data analysis methods. Means which types of data you have to generate in your research process. Qualitative types of data and quantitative types of data. These are the 2 types of data generally used in your research process, as per the concern of nature of your research information. Means qualitative and quantitative. बरा, वाईट, चांगला, म्हणजे बेटर, बेस्ट, whatever, satisfied. This type of data you have to collect in your research process. That was quantitative data. Means you have to maintain, you have to enhance, you have to measure the quantity or quality. Means qualitative data means verbal data, isn't it? And numerical data means quantitative data, means qualitative, or sometimes some researcher use qualitative as well as quantitative, both type of data. And researcher can transfer one type of data to another type of data. Means qualitative data transfer in quantitative, or quantitative data transfer in qualitative. That was also useful as far as the concern of your data analysis methods. म्हणजे एका परिभाषेतून दुसऱ्या परिभाषेमध्ये माहितीचं परावर्तन हे करता येत असतं. गुणात्मक माहितीचं रूपांतर आपल्याला संख्यात्मक मध्ये करता येतं, आणि संख्यात्मक माहितीचं रूपांतर आपल्याला गुणात्मक माहितीचं करता येतं. मीन्स युअर मार्क्स कन्वर्टेड इनटू ग्रेड and grade converted into marks, isn't it? Means qualitative nature of data you can transfer in quantitative, and quantitative data you can transfer in qualitative. Whatever may be the nature of research data and which types of statistically parameters you have to use in data analysis. What was the goodness of your data, mean truthness of your data? Sometimes some researcher fabricate the research data, artificial data generally used in your research process, isn't it? म्हणजे असं केमिस्ट्रीचे जे बरेच लोक आहेत किंवा प्रत्येक इच अँड एव्हरी सब्जेक्ट, की सम रिसर्चर फॅब्रिकेट द रिसर्च डेटा. म्हणजे एकच टायट्रेशन करायचं आणि त्याची रिडिंग घ्यायची, आणि मग .1 मध्ये .2 मध्ये कुठेतरी मागपुढी करायचं, आणि त्याला 10 वेळेस काय करायचं, मी 10 टायट्रेशन केले आणि मग ते गाईडला दाखवायचं. दॅट इज कॉल्ड अ फॅब्रिकेट डेटा. म्हणजे काय, समजा राधिकाजी देशपांडेजीने काय केलं, की समजा केमिस्ट्रीचे मला माहित नाही कुठल्या आहेत, त्यांनी काय केलंय की एकच टायट्रेशन केलं, त्याची रिडिंग घेतली, आणि मग काय केलं की मी त्याच्या 10 वेगवेगळ्या काय केल्यात किमती लिहिल्यात, आणि गाईडला सांगितलं की मी 10 वेळेस टायट्रेशन केलं आणि ह्या त्याच्या रिडिंग आहेत. These are the fabricate data. These are the goodness of your research data. Is it your data is truth? Internal validity and external validity of your research data, whatever may be research result, doesn't matter. But you collect a natural data, you collect a truth data. You did not fabricate your research data, isn't it? म्हणजे हे शॉर्टकट तुम्हाला याच्यात वापरता येत नाहीये. What was the quality of your research data? You have to use before the analysis of your research data, means 100% truth data, 100% true information you have to use in your research process. Otherwise, sometimes some that artificialness of your research data, that hidden errors affecting on a research quality, means the quality of your research data that was also reflect in your research result. Means your research result is also depending on the goodness of your research data. And what was the source of your research data? Means you have to use a primary source of research data or secondary source of your research data. Means as far as the concern of basic sciences research student, you need the use of primary source of your research data, isn't it? And what about the analysis? Which methods you have to analyze, analyzing methods and testing of your research hypothesis? Which testing methods and which significance of your research hypothesis you have to use in your research process? That was the elements of research methodology. And last one is 3.7, the conclusion of chapter number 3. Means which elements you have to use as per the concern of methodology. That was all reflect in chapter number 3. Means third is introduction of research methods, research design, which types of research design you have to use in your own research process, and how many research variables and which norms and standards are generally measurements, norms and standards you have to mention. and which types of research tools and techniques and research design you have to use, and which types of research populations and which types of techniques you have to sampling techniques you have to use in your research process, and scope and limitations of the research studies, and data analysis methods, data collection methods and data analysis methods, and characteristics of ideal research data, goodness of ideal research data, internal validity and external validity, and statistically analysis methods, primary statistical parameters you have to use, or apply statistical parameters you have to use in your research hypothesis testing that was mentioned in 3.6.2. and last one is a conclusion of the research method, chapter number 3. These are the elements generally used in a chapter number 3. Yes. Any difficulty regarding the chapter number 3? Are you understand? Yes. बिरूपा जी आहेत का वर्गात? पूनम परिहार जी, पूनम जी, सुनील राठौड़ जी, सुनील राठौड़, विजय कुमार जी, म्हणजे सर्व डोक्यावरून जातं का? विजय कुमार, आवाज येतो का माझा? एनीवन टेल मी?
हो सर, येतो, आवाज येतोय, बाहेर आहे.
हाँ हाँ, ठीक है, ठीक है. यस, कोण सांगतं तिसऱ्या? एनीवन टेल मी द एलिमेंट्स ऑफ चॅप्टर नंबर 3, मेथड्स अँड मटेरियल्स और रिसर्च मेथोडोलॉजी. यस, लाउडली. सुमन जी, यस, वेलकम.
Yes, sir. Research methodology includes introduction.
लाउडली, लाउडली. आवाज थोड़ा कमी दे तुमचा. Yes.
Research methodology
Yes.
includes introduction,
बराबर
research
है.
design, variable
Yes.
and measurement,
Yes.
questionnaire design,
Yes.
population and sample,
बराबर है.
scope of study,
Yes.
data analysis method,
बराबर.
in which data analysis includes goodness of data and
Yes.
inferential analysis, and lastly
बरोबर.
conclusion.
बरोबर. Yes. शाबास. Nice. म्हणजे आहेत हे जे आहेत हे मागे पुढे जरी झाले तर हरकत नाहीये, फक्त त्या शब्द जे काही तेवढे घटक जे आहेत तेवढे फक्त लक्षात ठेवायचे. आणि चॅप्टर नंबर 4 डेटा अनालिसिस आणि कन्क्लुजन. अगोदर कोणती रिसर्च मेथड होती आणि चौथं काय डेटा अनालिसिस. पहिलं इंट्रोडक्शन, दुसरं रिव्ह्यू ऑफ लिटरेचर, तिसरं रिसर्च मेथड्स आणि चौथं 4th chapter means data analysis, isn't it? These are the 4th chapter. After the collection of your research data, how to analyze the research data and test the null, whatever may be a research question, whatever may be research hypothesis, and generate a research result, isn't it? These are the chapter number 4. The purpose of chapter number 4, the introduction means 4.1 that indicate the chapter number 4. 1 point means chapter number 4 means 1 point. So त्यातला पहिला मुद्दा आहे, that is introductions. And the goodness of your measurements of your research data, म्हणजे माहितीची वैधता काय आहे किंवा माहितीचं सातत्य आहे, खरी माहिती आहे का खोटी माहिती आहे हे अगोदर तुम्हाला पडताळावं लागतं. रिप्रेझेंटेटिव्हनेस ऑफ युअर रिसर्च डेटा, म्हणजे माहितीचं प्रातिनिधिक स्वरूपाचं प्रतिनिधित्व करणारा जे आहे. व्हॉट वॉज द रिप्रेझेंटेटिव्हनेस मीन्स ईच अँड एव्हरी फॅक्टर्स ऑफ युअर रिसर्च पॉप्युलेशन दॅट वॉज ऍक्च्युअल selection in your research sample, means each and every sample representativeness you have to select in your research sample. That sample or that type of data means a representative of your research data. बरोबर आहे. जसं आता मला काही मुलं आहेत काही मुली आहेत, म्हणजे मुलांचे 2 प्रतिनिधित्व घ्यावं लागतील, मुलींचं 2 प्रतिनिधित्व घ्यावं लागतील. 2 आणि 2 असे 4 मुलं मी काय करणार आहे, निवडणार आहे आणि ते संशोधनासाठी वापरणार आहे. That is called a representativeness of your research data. Means how many research variables you have to consider in your research process. Each and every research variables that should select in your research data. That research data is called as a representative research data, isn't it? Sample size. What was the sample size you have to select? You have to use in your research data. The validity test अँड रिलायबिलिटी टेस्ट ऑफ युअर रिसर्च डेटा. व्हॅलिडिटी म्हणजे काय की खरेपण आहे. जसं जात वैधता आपण म्हणतो ना, जात वैधता तपासण्याचं काय कास्ट व्हॅलिडिटी आपण पाहतो. कास्ट व्हॅलिडिटीसाठी काय करतात अगोदर, मग तुमच्या ह्याच्यात त्या सेम नावचं आहे का, तुमच्या आजोबाकडे होतं का, वडिलाकडे होतं का, असे 100 पुरावे त्यांना मागतं आणि मग नंतर सांगतं की तुम्ही या जातीतले आहात, तुम्ही व्हॅलिड आहात. बरोबर आहे की मीन्स व्हॉट एव्हर मे बी युअर रिसर्च डेटा कलेक्ट. After the collection of your research data, you have to check the validity of your research data. You have to test the validity, internal validity and external validity of your research data. म्हणजे जी माहिती मिळवलेली आहे ती माहिती खरी आहे का हे तपासून घेणं. That is considered a validity test, isn't it? म्हणजे व्हॅलिडिटी टेस्ट काय की समजा कुठले असते, समजा हा विजय कुमार आहे, हा बाहेर आहे म्हणतो, मग खरंच बाहेर आहे का तो सरांना उल्लू बनवतं हे तपासून पाहणं. दॅट इज कॉल्ड अ व्हॅलिडिटी टेस्ट. बरोबर आहे. कुठली असेल म्हणजे तो जो रिस्पॉन्स देतोय तो खरा देतोय का खोटा देतोय. आफ्टर द कलेक्शन समजा एखादं मी टायट्रेशन केलेलं आहे तर मग काय केलं 2-3 वेळेस टायट्रेशन केल्याच्या नंतरही तीच जर रिडिंग येत असेल दॅट इज अ ट्रुथनेस, दॅट इज अ व्हॅलिडिटी ऑफ दॅट टेस्ट. बरोबर आहे. म्हणजे ती माहिती खरी आहे. बरोबर आहे. म्हणजे माहिती मिळवल्याच्या नंतर, माहिती संकलित केल्याच्या नंतर किंवा 3-4 वेळेस एकच एक्सपेरिमेंट करून पाहणं आणि नंतर ती काय करणं, त्याची मीन काढणं. म्हणजे 4 वेळेस काय करणं, रिडिंग घेणं आणि त्याची मीन काढणं. दॅट इज द स्टँडर्ड व्हॅल्यू, दॅट इज अ व्हॅलिड व्हॅल्यू ऑफ दॅट रिसर्च डेटा. बरोबर आहे. किंवा जसं काय करतात 3 वेळेस काय करतात टेस्ट घेणं आणि त्याचं मीन काढणं. कुठली असते समजा 3 वेळेस IR काढलेला आहे आणि मग त्याचं काय करणं की सिमिलर व्हॅल्यूज करणं, त्याचा मीन काढणं आणि तो जो आहे तो स्टँडर्ड IR आहे किंवा त्याचा जो फिगर आहे. किंवा मग काय करतो डॉक्टर काय करतो 2-3 वेळेस काय करतो चेस्टचा काय केलं आहे अँजिओ हे केलं आहे, त्याला काय म्हणतो आपण अँजिओग्राफी केलेली आहे किंवा मग त्याला हे म्हणतात त्याला एक्सरे काढलेला चेस्टचा काय म्हणतात त्याला हे केलेलं आहे ECG केलेला आहे. 3 वेळेस ते ECG केल्याच्या नंतर काय करतो तो स्टँडर्डनेस मेंटेन करतो. मीन्स दॅट रिसर्चर टेस्ट द व्हॅलिडिटी ऑफ दॅट रिसर्च डेटा. Means after the collection of data, you have to check again and again same data is true, valid, reliable or relevant. म्हणजे माहिती मिळवल्याच्या नंतर खरी आहे का खोटी आहे हे तुमचं पाहणं काम आहे, माझं शिकवणं काम आहे. गिनगिनी सरांनी शिकवलेलं आहे बरोबर आहे, खरं आहे का खोटं आहे हे तपासून पाहणं तुमचं काम आहे. का 100% फेकलेलं आहे हे काम काय तुमचं काम आहे. यू हॅव टू चेक द as per the concern of ideal researcher. Before the use of any information, you have to check the cross again and again, and then you have to use that real information, that reliable information, reliability of that test and validity of test of that research data. After the getting 100% reliability, after the getting 100% validity of that research data, then you have to use in your research process that data is valid data, reliable data, truth data. म्हणजे काय खरी माहिती आहे, 100% खरी माहिती आहे. माहिती मिळवल्याच्या नंतर त्या माहितीची सत्यता पडताळून पाहणं त्याला काय म्हणायचं, व्हॅलिडिटी टेस्ट ऑफ युअर रिसर्च डेटा, रिलायबिलिटी टेस्ट ऑफ युअर रिसर्च डेटा. रिलायबिलिटी म्हणजे काय, ती बरोबर आहे की नाहीये, म्हणजे प्रमाणा बरोबर आहे की नाहीये. स्टँडर्डनेस ऑफ युअर रिसर्च टूल्स अँड टेक्निक्स युअर रिसर्च डेटा. म्हणजे त्या भाजीवालीनं 1 किलो त्या दगडानं मापून दिलेली भाजी आहे ती मग शासनाच्या माहिती बरोबर 1 किलोच्या मापाबरोबर आहे की नाहीये. दॅट इज कॉल्ड रिलायबिलिटी टेस्ट. नॉट स्टँडर्ड बट इक्वल टू स्टँडर्ड, नॉट रिलायबल बट इक्वल टू रिलायबिलिटी टेस्ट, इजंट इट. म्हणजे काय, युजफुलनेस ऑफ दॅट रिसर्च इन्फॉर्मेशन, गुडनेस ऑफ युअर मेजरमेंट्स ऑफ युअर रिसर्च डेटा. मीन्स what type of research data you have to use in your research process. After the collection of your research data, you have to check the representativeness of your research data, validity of your research data, and reliability of your research data. That is the essential elements of data analysis. Before the data analysis, you have again and again cross check is your data is truth, valid, reliable. After the testing of internal validity, external validity, internal reliability, external reliability, then you have to use data analysis. You have to proceed the further data processing, isn't it? Means data tabulation, data find out the errors, data classification, data analysis, and after that all that process you have to analyze that data. म्हणजे कसं आपण बोलतो data tabulation, that was the elements of data processing. Data classification means you have to find out the data errors and remove the data errors. म्हणजे काही अधुरी माहिती असेल, अर्धी माहिती असेल, ही आपल्याला बाजूला काढावी लागते. दॅट इज अ रिलायबिलिटी टेस्ट. किंवा मग अर्धवट असेल, किंवा मग एखादी रिएक्शन लावली, मध्येच लाईट गेलेली आहे आणि नंतर पुन्हा लाईट आलेली आहे, त्याची रिडिंग तुम्हाला वेगळी आलेली आहे, ती तुम्हाला बाजूला काढावी लागते. ते कुठलं असेल किंवा तो काय, तो बाकीच्या घटकांचा तो परिणाम वेगळा आहे, तो आपल्याला काय करावा, तो बाजूला काढावा लागतो. अँड which types of statistically process analysis use in data analysis, imperial analysis or whatever, which types of descriptive analysis or types of analysis, means which types of data you have to collect in your research process. After the data validations, you have analyzed your data and check the testing of your research hypothesis. Means descriptive analysis, subjective analysis, nominal analysis, verbal analysis, or types of test of difference, or test of reliability, or covariance, coefficient of covariance, and testing of your research hypothesis. These are the some data analysis techniques. Means as per the concern of your research hypothesis structure, which types of statistically parameters you have to use in your research process analysis. One questions asked on chapter number 4, means data analysis, how to analyze numerical data or qualitative data or quantitative data. Generally each and every question, previous question paper, 15 mark weightage for a numerical data analysis. And these are the 5 statistically parameters is very important as per the concern of examination views. First one is a mean, mode, median. Second one is a standard deviation. Third one is a qualitative deviation, and fourth one is a t-test of two-tailed t-test, one-tailed t-test, or testing of your research hypothesis. And fourth one is a chi-square. Chi-square is observed frequency or expected frequency. These are the 2 types of chi-square. Means sometimes ask only observed frequency, sometimes ask question on observed frequency and expected frequency are different nature. That type of one questions, 15 mark, 2 questions in new format. In old format, 20 mark weightage in numerical data analysis. In new format, 1 8 mark question, 1 7 mark question. Means 50 mark questions may be asked on a numerical data analysis. These are the 5 statistically parameters generally used in data analysis. म्हणजे हे काय करायचं, 5 जे काही गणित आहेत, संख्याशास्त्रीय परिमाण जे आहेत, माहितीचं विश्लेषण कसं करतात, संख्याशास्त्रीय माहितीचं विश्लेषण कसं करतात, या अनुषंगाने 15 मार्काचा हमखास प्रश्न येणार, म्हणजे येणार काळ्या दगडावरी पांढरी रेष आहे. आणि हे 5 गणित पक्के करून जायचे. पहिलं कोणतं आहे, मीन, मोड, मीडियन. मध्यमान, मध्यगा, बहुलक. दुसरं जे आहे स्टँडर्ड डेव्हिएशन, प्रमाण विचलन. तिसरं जे आहे क्वार्टाईल डेव्हिएशन, चतुर्थक विचलन. चौथं जे आहे वन टेल टी टेस्ट अँड टू टेल टी टेस्ट. एक पुच्छ टी परीक्षिका आणि द्विपुच्छ टी परीक्षिका. अँड fifth one is a chi-square statistical parameters used in a data analysis. These are the 2 type of chi-square generally previous question paper. FO means observed frequency, only single line questions or double line questions. Observed frequency reflect in your statement of your problem or statement of numerical analysis, and expected frequency are different way. म्हणजे वेगवेगळी दिलेली असते. अशा वेळेस सुद्धा तुम्हाला पाहावं लागते. म्हणजे दोन्ही सरांनी तुम्हाला शिकवलं असेल आणि कॅल्क्युलेटर होतो वापरायला परमिशन आहे. जसं तुम्हाला हे पाहत, हे चौथा जो भाग आहे 4.3. दीज आर द डेटा अनालिसिस आफ्टर द डेटा कलेक्शन विच स्टॅटिस्टिकली पॅरामीटर्स यूज इन अ डेटा अनालिसिस. मीन्स what type of statistically parameters, means parametrics test or non-parametric test generally used in a data analysis. Parametric test means which types of parameters you have to mention, like chi-square, z-test, t-test, these range, these are the parametric tests generally used in a data analysis. Or non-parametric test means applied statistically parameters used in a data analysis, like t-test, f-test, ANOVA, ANCOVA, MINCOVA, coefficient of correlation, regression analysis. This type of statistical parameters used in a data analysis, like a test of reliability, a test of research variables, reliability variables, coefficient of correlation, correlations, Pearson correlations, or scatter diagram correlation. That type of applied statistical parameters used in a data analysis. Or sometime some researcher various data analysis software like MATLAB, HPSS, R software, Excels, applied Excels, this type of statistic applied softwares you have to use in your research data analysis and testing of your research hypothesis. These are the elements of chapter number 4, that is called as a data analysis, data interpretation, data tabulations, data classification, and data analysis and testing of your research hypothesis. These are the area of your chapter number 4. Yes, any difficulty regarding chapter number 4? My screen is visible now. दिसते का screen का गायब झाली?
Yes, sir.
दिसते.
Yes. चौथ्या चॅप्टरचे घटक काय आहेत? कोण सांगतं मला? Anyone tell me the elements of fourth chapter data analysis? Yes, Pankaj ji, welcome.
Data analysis चे points आहेत. Introduction.
Yes.
Goodness of measurement.
Yes.
Inferential analysis.
बरोबर आहे.
And conclusion.
Conclusion बरोबर. आणि मध्ये coefficient of correlation, testing of validity, reliability हे एकदा बघून घ्या. बरोबर आहे. Good. Nice. Yes. एक प्रश्न आणखी विचारूत आणि पुढे चलूयात. ज्ञानेश्वर जी आहेत का वर्गात?
यस सर. यस.
ज्ञानेश्वर, आपण 4 प्रकार बघितलेत मेन बॉडी मध्ये, 4 प्रकरण बघितलेत. यू टेल मी द 4 चॅप्टर्स नेम. 4 प्रकरणाचे नाव सांगा बरं तुम्ही मला. यस, लाऊडली. कोण सांगतं? हा, ज्ञानेश्वर. यस, अश्विनी, वेलकम.
इंट्रोडक्शन,
फर्स्ट चॅप्टर, राइट.
लिटरेचर ऑफ रिव्ह्यू, सेकंड चॅप्टर. थर्ड आहे
Yes.
रिसर्च मेथड्स. फोर्थ आहे
Yes.
डाटा कलेक्शन अँड डाटा अनालिसिस.
यस, डेटा अनालिसिस. बरोबर आहे. हे 4 प्रकरण आहेत आणि कशाचे आहेत? मेन बॉडी ऑफ रिसर्च रिपोर्ट. आणि हे शेवटचं चॅप्टर आहे मेन बॉडी ऑफ रिसर्च रिपोर्ट, 5वं चॅप्टर. आणि 6वं 7वं सुद्धा करू शकतात. त्या विषयानुसार ते वेगवेगळे असू शकतात. येस, दीज आर द 5 चॅप्टर्स. येस, मराठी सर काही अडचण आहे?
हॅलो.
हा सर.
हा सर, काय?
नाही, तुमचं अनम्यूट माईक झाले त्याच्यामुळे म्हटलं काही आहे.
ओके. नाही नाही नाही, मी आता जस्ट जॉईन झालो त्यामुळे होते का?
ओके ओके ओके
ओके, सॉरी सर.
चॅप्टर नंबर 5, लास्ट, research result, isn't it, and conclusion, major finding and conclusion. These are the elements of chapter number 5, 5.1, that indicate the 5 chapter 1 point, isn't it? Means major findings of your research result, whatever may be after the testing of your research hypothesis, what was the minor research findings and major research finding, and discussion regarding your research result. Means your hypothesis is a true hypothesis, significant hypothesis, or not a true hypothesis. Your hypothesis is rejected, your hypothesis significantness you are selected, or whatever may be the major findings of your research data analysis. After the research data analysis, what was the major finding? You have to write your research major findings, and after the major finding you have discussion regarding that major findings. Means these are the impact of one variables to another variables, and that impact may be a significant impact or not significant impact. That was mentioned in your own discussion. Means discussion regarding your research findings, major findings of your research, minor findings of your research. And 5.3 means applications, means implications of your research result. means whatever may be your research findings, your research conclusion, what was the applications, what was the implementations of your research findings, theoretically implications and practically implications in further studies. What was the use of your research result after your research result generate? What was the applications? What was the implications? What was the use of your theoretical use, practically use in day-to-day life? That was mentioned in chapter number 3. And what was the limitations of your research result? Your research area is whole world research generalizables, means you have to formulate a universal truth, or some research result implications or implementations limitations, or research result limitations. That was what was the limitations of that research result, that was reflect in 5.4. And 5.5 means recommendations of the further research studied. Budding researcher, new budding researchers, means these are the already area I have completed in my research process, and these are the further studied research area I have not completed in my research process. Means newly researcher, they can choose the area of that further research studied. म्हणजे इथपर्यंत मी काम केलेलं आहे, इथून पुढे तुम्ही काम करू शकता. These are the recommendations of further research studied. Means remaining research area, I have completed these and these research area in my research process, and these are the further research studied ideas of the new studied research scholar. Means recommendations of the research, further research study, and conclusion of the research process, or all research results. These are the 5 chapters generally used in your research report, in your main body of research report. First one is introduction, second one is a review of related literature, third one is a research methods and materials, fourth one is a data analysis, and fifth one is a research conclusion or major findings. These are the 5 chapters generally used in your research report main bodies. And last C section, these are the reference sections. First is primary sections, second one is the main body of research report. In main body of research report, another 5 chapters you have to use, and third one is a main body of research report. Or after the main body, C section is a reference section. Means what was the source you have to use, what was the books, what was the journals, what was the online materials you have to use in your research process. Means generally bibliography, reference styles, APA or MLA or Chicago, these are the 3 reference style generally used in each and every research process. As far as the concern of your research discipline, your research area, generally art side students or humanity or interdisciplinary research scholars use APA style, and MLA style, generally basic science students use, or applied sciences research scholar use a MLA style. Our literature research scholar use a Chicago reference styles. As far as the concern of your discipline, your subject, you have to choose a reliable reference style. म्हणजे तुमच्या विषयानुसार तुमची संदर्भ सूची जी आहे ती वापरावी लागते. ठीक आहे. संदर्भ सूची हा काय 3रा घटक आहे रिसर्च रिपोर्टचा, संशोधन अहवालाचा. प्राथमिक विभाग, मध्य विभाग आणि संदर्भ विभाग. ठीक आहे. आणि नंतर अपेंडिक्स व्हॉट एव्हर मे बी. दीज आर द सम characteristics of good research report or ideal research report. आदर्श संशोधन अहवालाचे हे खालील वैशिष्ट्य आहेत. हे 7-8 वैशिष्ट्य काय करायचे, स्क्रीनशॉट काढायचे. त्याच्यावर प्रश्न 3 वेळेस आलेला आहे. What is research report? Explain the characteristics of ideal research report. What is research report? Explain the norms and standards of evaluation parameters in research process. Isn't it? म्हणजे हे काय, हे वैशिष्ट्य आहेत. तुम्ही फक्त हे शब्द पाठ करायचे, मध्ये तुमच्यानुसार तुम्ही एक्सप्लेनेशन करू शकता. म्हणजे अट्रॅक्टिव्हनेस असेल, क्लिअर टॉपिक असेल, बॅलन्स लँग्वेज असेल, म्हणजे कुठली असेल, आर्टिफिशियल लँग्वेज तुम्हाला यूज करता येत नाही, मिनिमम सिंपल लँग्वेज और बॅलन्स लँग्वेज तुम्हाला यूज करावी लागते. नो रिपिटेशन ऑफ द फॅक्ट्स, म्हणजे रिपिटेशन फॅक्टचे पुन्हा रिपिटेशन होऊ नये. एकच शब्द पुन्हा, किंवा पहिला निष्कर्ष तेच आहे, 5वा निष्कर्ष तेच आहे, 9वा निष्कर्ष तेच आहे. दॅट वॉज द रिपिटेशन ऑफ रिसर्च फॅक्ट्स, रिपिटेशन ऑफ युअर मेजर रिसर्च फाइंडिंग्स. मीन्स एकच जे आहे शब्द ते 3 वेगवेगळ्या अँगलनं तो काय करतो, लिहित असतो. हे होऊ नये. स्टेटमेंट ऑफ द सायंटिफिक फॅक्ट्स means whatever may be a scientificness of your facts you have reflect in your research report means त्याचं application किंवा practicability जी आहे किंवा applicability जी आहे ती तुम्हाला इथं लिहावी लागते. that was the ideal characteristics आहे. आणि difficultness or strong point or descriptive and short form जे आहेत ते तुम्हाला लिहावतात. Review of related literatures, how many previous research review you have to use in review of related literature, chapter number 2. That was the strength of your research report. That was the characteristics of good research report or conclusion means which quotations are which statement you have to use or ideal statement or attractive statement or attractive quotation you have to use in your research report. What was the size, physical size, how many pages you have to use in your research report. Means you have to use a footnote. Footnote is that is oldest reference style. Nowadays that footnotes was not used in research report. Use of abbreviations. What was how many short forms you have to use that use of abbreviation. These are the ideal research report. Characteristics of ideal research report means use of statistical parameters, use of charts, use of different type of graph, use of different type of charts, use of different statistical parameters used in data analysis. These are the good research report. Characteristic of good research report. And suitable valid bibliography reference style you have to use, and index and appendix and conclusion you have to use in at the time of research report writing. These are the characteristics of ideal research report writing. These are the criteria. These are the criteria, generally evaluation criteria as per the concern of Swami Ramanand Tirth, Marathwada University, Nanded, which non-science standards use in a evaluation of research report. म्हणजे मूल्यांकन करण्यासाठी किंवा एखाद्या थेसिसचं मूल्यांकन करण्यासाठी कोणते रिसर्च रिपोर्ट नॉन सायन्स स्टँडर्ड इव्हॅल्युएशन पॅरामीटर्स यूज केले जातात हे मी तुम्हाला काय करतो नंतर पीपीटी सेंड करतोय. दीज आर द क्वेश्चन्स of investigations of non-science standards of evaluation process. Before the evaluations of research report, ask the some questions. Research, what is your research problem, underlying investigations, whatever may be, you have to scientific analysis of that investigations, satisfactory analysis of the investigations, requirement of the characteristics of the investment investigations of research process, appropriateness of or clear form or clear formulations of your research title or research data, and are the formulations of your research hypothesis and your research objective specifically very clearly mentions or correlated to your research title, your research design. You means each and every research hypothesis should be depend on your research objectives and your research title. Means originality of your research work, availability of knowledge and your research data, and presently time. So what was the truthness of your research data, originality of your research data. You have to maintain the internal validity and external validity of your research data. As far as the truthness of your research data, what was the good research review of related literature, you have to mention in chapter number 3. Means how many previous research review you have to write in your research chapter, in your research review of related literature. In review of related literature is suitable, related to your research area, related to your research variables, that is essential. Means review of related literatures is correlate from your research area, that is related. Means does the formulations of theory have internal and external consistency, or your internal and external validity of your research data, and evaluation criteria, which evaluation criteria generally used in your research process. Means clarity, originality, and timeless of relevanceness of your research data. These are the some sectors generally used in evaluation of your research data. Yes. These are the non-science standards of your research report generally used in your research process. Any difficulty regarding your research report? Elements of research report? section of research report. We discussing regarding the norms and standards of evaluation process. Yes, तुमचा thesis सबमिट झाल्याच्या नंतर कुठल्या निकषाच्या आधारे तुमच्या संशोधन अहवालाचं मूल्यांकन केले जातं. After the research report submission, which norms and standards generally use in a evaluations of research report? Swami Ramanand Tirth, Marathwada University, Nanded, means Director of Evaluation and Examination Section, Nanded. These are the norms and standards generally used in evaluations of research report. These are the 5 scales measurements scales generally used in evaluations of research report. First one is inferior, second is poor, satisfactory, good, and very good. These are the 5-point nominal measurement scales generally used in evaluations of research report, and each and every angles give a 5 marks point, means 5 marks give each and every elements of these sectors, means evaluation sectors divided into another 3 sectors. म्हणजे मूल्यांकनाचे सुद्धा जसं आपण संशोधन अहवालाचे 3 घटकामध्ये अहवाल विखुरलेला होता बघितलं, तसं मूल्यांकनाचे निकष सुद्धा 3 भागांमध्ये विखुरलेले आहेत. फर्स्ट सेक्टर इज अ क्वालिटी सेक्टर. क्वालिटी सेक्टर गिव्स अ 15 मार्क्स. 50 मार्क हे क्वालिटी सेक्टर मध्ये आहेत आणि क्वालिटी सेक्टर मध्ये हे 10 घटक हे तुमच्या इव्हॅल्युएशन मध्ये पाहिले जातात. इच अँड एव्हरी एलिमेंट्स गिव्स अ 5 मार्क वेटेज. इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ द रिसर्च वर्क दॅट गिव्स अ 5 मार्क्स. पहिलं चॅप्टर जे आहे आपण बघितलं, मेन बॉडी ऑफ रिसर्च रिपोर्ट. फर्स्ट चॅप्टर नंबर फर्स्ट, इंट्रोडक्शन द एलिमेंट्स ऑफ रिसर्च रिपोर्ट दॅट गिव्स अ 5 मार्क वेटेज. बरोबर आहे. म्हणजे हे 10 मुद्दे 10 म्हणजे घटक आहेत हे पाठ करायचे आणि हे जे आहेत हे नॉर्म्स अँड स्टँडर्ड म्हणून वापरले जातात. सेकंड चॅप्टर, रिव्ह्यू ऑफ रिलेटेड लिटरेचर. दुसऱ्या प्रकरणाचं नाव आणि दुसऱ्या प्रकरणाचे जे घटक आहेत ते काय आहेत, दॅट गिव्स अ 5 मार्क्स. पहिल्या प्रकरणाला 5 मार्क आहेत, दुसऱ्या प्रकरणाला 5 मार्क आहेत. इजंट इट? रिव्ह्यू ऑफ रिलेटेड लिटरेचर. Which types of review you have to use? How many previous research review you have mentioned in your research report? That review is related, that review is correlate from your research work, and previous research work is same discipline or same research area. That is essential. Scope of your research work. What was the strength and weaknesses of your research work? That gives a 5 marks. Scope of your research work. म्हणजे काय फायदा आहे त्याच्यासाठी स्कोप जे आहे 5. हे दुसऱ्या प्रकरणातील तिसरा मुद्दा आहे. पहिल्या प्रकरणातील शेवटचा मुद्दा हा पण आहे. स्कोप ऑफ युअर रिसर्च वर्क दॅट गिव्स अ 5 मार्क्स. अँड फोर्थ वन इज research methodology and experimental steps of your research method. Means technique soundness. Each and every research step, research process steps, means which types of research methods you have to use and which types of research experiment design and research methods. Means chapter number 3 gives a 5 mark weightage. Means soundness of your techniques. Which types of techniques you have to use whole research process, which how many types of experiment you have to use, set up your experiment methods and materials and steps of your experiment, that gives a 5 mark weightage. म्हणजे तुम्ही कोणकोणत्या प्रकारचे प्रयोग केलेले आहेत, एक्सपेरिमेंट केलेले आहेत, त्या एक्सपेरिमेंटचे प्रत्येक टप्पे कसे आहेत आणि मेथड्स कोणती वापरलेली आहे याच्यासाठी किती मार्क आहेत? 5 मार्क आहेत. हा चौथा मुद्दा आहे. आणि स्टेटमेंट ऑफ युअर रिसर्च प्रॉब्लेम. फक्त तुमच्या समस्या विधानाला 5 मार्क आहेत. You have to formulate a ideal, different, difficult, attractive your research statement. Problem of your statement that gives a 5 mark. आकर्षित करणारा कमीत कमी शब्दांमध्ये आणि महत्वपूर्ण शब्द वापरलेले असले. You have to avoid dual meaning words in your statement of your research problem. That gives a 5 mark weightage. In minimum words, you have to formulate a meaningful statement. That is essential. Meaningful statement is essential. Meaningful statement of your research problem. That is essential. That statement of your research problem that gives you 5 mark. फक्त तुमच्या टायटलला 5 मार्क आहेत. कशाला? टायटलला किती मार्क आहेत? 5 मार्क आहेत. कमीत कमी शब्दांमध्ये आकर्षक आणि महत्वपूर्ण आणि मिनिंगफुल, अर्थपूर्ण तुमचं टायटल असणं गरजेचं आहे. आणि नेक्स्ट वन 6 इज ओरिजिनॅलिटी ऑफ युअर रिसर्च वर्क. संपूर्ण युअर रिसर्च डेटा, युअर रिसर्च डेटा अनालिसिस, युअर रिसर्च हायपोथेसिस, each and every process you have to find out the scientificness, the originality of your research work, that gives a 5 mark. म्हणजे खरंच तुम्ही खरं काम केलेलं आहे का खोटं केलेलं आहे किंवा फेक डेटा आहे, आर्टिफिशियल डेटा आहे, त्याच्या सुद्धा पाहण्याचे आपण काही टेक्निक्स आहेत ते आपण नंतरच्या तासिकमध्ये पाहणार आहोत. टाइमलेस ऑफ युअर रिसर्च वर्क म्हणजे 3 वर्षातच पूर्ण केलेलं आहे, 5 वर्ष लागलेले आहेत, 7 वर्ष लागलेले आहेत. आमच्याकडे बरेच आणखी 12 वर्ष पण रिसर्च काम करणारे बरेच मुलं आहेत. म्हणजे तुम्ही विदिन टाइम मध्ये काम केलेलं आहे का टाइम वाढून घेतलेला आहे, त्याच्यासाठी सुद्धा किती मार्क आहेत? 5 मार्क आहेत. कॉन्ट्रीब्युशन ऑफ दी रिसर्च फील्ड, कॉन्ट्रीब्युशन ऑफ दी युअर रिसर्च फॉर अ फील्ड म्हणजे तुमच्या संशोधनाचं तुमच्या फील्डला, तुमच्या विषयामध्ये काय कॉन्ट्रीब्युशन आहे किंवा थेरोटिकल कॉन्ट्रीब्युशन काय आहे, प्रॅक्टिकली कॉन्ट्रीब्युशन काय आहे, कंटेंट व्हॅलिडिटी काय आहे, नॉलेज कॉन्ट्रीब्युशन काय आहे, that gives a 5 mark weightage. Contribution of the field means your research work contribution, that gives a 5 mark. Means applications of your research result, applications of your content validity or theoretically applications or theoretically framework or content framework or practical applications, that gives a 5 marks. And 9th one is a conclusion draw, means chapter number 5 gives a 5 marks. Major findings, how to draw a major finding, what was the methods was used, a testing of your hypothesis, and regarding a discussion of major findings and attractive major findings. You have to find out the truthness of your research findings, the validity of your research result, that gives a 5 marks. Means how to draw a research result, how to draw a major research findings and discussion regarding a major findings. म्हणजे निष्कर्ष काय आलेत आणि निष्कर्षाची चर्चा तुम्ही कशी केलीत याच्यावर तुम्हाला 5 मार्क आहेत. म्हणजे 5व्या प्रकरणाला 5 मार्क आहेत. आणि स्कोप ऑफ द फर्दर रिसर्च स्टडीड इन फर्दर रिमेनिंग और फर्दर फील्ड और फर्दर रिसर्चर म्हणजे 5व्या साठी पुन्हा आणखी 5 मार्क आहेत. which research area you have to completed and ideas of the further research studied, that gives up 5 marks. Means these are the remaining research work I have not completed in my research process, that gives a further research studied budding researcher, that gives ideas, that gives a 5 marks. म्हणजे हा भाग मी पूर्ण केलेला आहे, इथून पुढचा भाग राहिलेला आहे ते पुढच्या संशोधकाने घ्यावा. म्हणजे हे जे 10 घटक आहेत हे 10 घटक कशामधले आहेत? क्वालिटी सेक्टरचे आहेत. Isn't it? Means another evaluation parameters norms that divided into 3 sectors. First one is a quality sectors. Quality sectors, another 10 elements you have to use in evaluation norms and standards of research report evaluation parameters. First one is introduction of research work, review of related literatures, scope of research work, techniques of your research generally used, statement of your research problem, originality of research work, timeless of your research work, contribution of the research field, and conclusion draw, and further research work, ideas regarding a further research work. These are the 10 elements generally used in a quality sectors, quality measurements of a research report. Yes, any difficulty regarding a quality sectors? And these are the content sectors. Content sector divided into 4 elements, means that gives a 20 marks. And presentation sector gives us 6 elements, that gives a 30. Means 50 plus 20 plus 30. These are the 3 sectors evaluation parameters, norms and standards generally used in a Swami Ramanand Tirth Marathwada University norms and standard. Means acquiredness of your research data and informations. Means authenticity of your research data, that gives a 5 marks. Isn't it? Means content validity. Means whatever may be internal validity and external validity and truthness of your research data and your data research tool validity and data collection techniques, that gives a 5 mark weightage. Isn't it? and organization of your research thesis, means how many topological errors, how many presentation, how many types of research graph, how many types of research abbreviations used, and which techniques and methods you have to organize in your research thesis. That gives a 5 marks. म्हणजे कशा प्रकारचं तुम्ही संशोधन अहवाल बाइंड केलेला आहे त्याच्यासाठी किती 5 मार्क दिलेला आहे. म्हणजे सिक्वेन्स यू हॅव टू मेन्शन आफ्टर वन सायकल कंप्लीट, सेकंड सायकल, थर्ड सायकल, सिक्वेन्स आफ्टर फर्स्ट चॅप्टर, सेकंड चॅप्टर, थर्ड चॅप्टर, फोर्थ चॅप्टर, फिफ्थ चॅप्टर, नंतर रेफरन्स स्टाईल, नंतर अपेंडिक्स and A section, B section, C section continuously flows. That gives a 5 mark weightage. And applications and utility of your research, practicability of your research result. म्हणजे application कसं यूज केलेलं आहे त्यासाठी 5 मार्क आहेत. आणि रेफरन्स स्टाईल अँड बिब्लिओग्राफी दॅट गिव्स अ 5 मार्क वेटेज. म्हणजे फक्त संदर्भ सूचीसाठी किती मार्क आहेत? 5 मार्क आहेत. म्हणजे हाऊ मेनी सोर्स यू हॅव टू यूज, authentic source, primary source, valid source you have to use, and how many books, how many websites, how many journals, how many previous research reports, how many open sources, literatures you have to use in your research process. That all consider as a reference or bibliography section that gives a 5 mark weightage. And next third sectors is considered as a presentation sectors. Means first one is quality, content. Quality that gives a 50 mark weightage, content that gives a 20 mark weightage, and presentation that gives a 30 mark weightage. Presentation साठी तुम्हाला 30 मार्काचे weightage दिलेला आहे. Clear explanation of the research work. म्हणजे क्लॅरिटी आहे का, एक्सप्लेनेशन दिलेलं आहे का प्रत्येक ठिकाणी, त्याच्यासाठी किती मार्क आहेत? प्रेझेंटेशन मध्ये, प्रत्येक चॅप्टर मध्ये, प्रत्येक प्रकरणामध्ये आणि प्रत्येक सेक्शन मध्ये क्लॅरिटी आहे का, त्याच्यासाठी 5 मार्क आहेत. आणि टेक्निक्स, यस रूपाजी आता तुम्ही जॉईन झालात का? एनी डिफिकल्टी, एनी क्वेश्चन? yes, okay. And next one is presentation. Second point of presentation, which techniques you have to adopt in your research process, details regarding your research methods, scientific research methods, or artificial research method, means scientificness of your research methods and techniques of your research methods generally reflect in presentation mode. That gives a 5 marks. Justification of the research work done, म्हणजे तुम्ही विषयाला किती न्याय दिलेला आहे त्याच्यासाठी किती मार्क आहेत? 5 मार्क आहेत. आणि प्रेझेंटेशन कसं केलेलं आहे त्यासाठी 5 मार्क आहेत. क्लॅरिटी ऑफ दी research language, and whatever may be the simple language you have to use, or artificial language, or ambitious language you have to use. That gives a 5 mark weightage. Means which types of language you have to use at the time of research report writing. That gives a 5 marks. Means simple, very clear and meaningful words you have to use at the time of research report writing. That gives a 5 mark weightage. Means difficulty or difficultness of that language. How many words, means hard words or simple words or different meaning words that what you use in your research report language. That gives a 5 mark weightage. And clarity of your research objects. Yes, clarity of your research objectives, means your research objectives and your research title is correlated, and your research objective totally depend on the your research title. Each and every angle of your research title that was reflect in your research objective. That gives a presentation mode. That gives a 5 marks. And errors, how many types of errors reflect freedom from your research writing and your research methods, and relevantness, irrelevantness, materials and errors, unwanted information you have to reflect in your research report writing, or unwanted research errors. Unwanted errors are including in your whole research process. That gives a 5 mark weightage. Means quality sectors, that gives 50 marks. content sector that gives 20 marks, and presentation sector that gives 30 marks. 100 marks minimum, 50 marks is essential. And as far as the concern of 3 evaluators is, our guide is first evaluators, second evaluators out of university, that was second evaluators, and out of Maharashtra, that was the third evaluators. And all that third evaluators minimum 50 marks is essential, or not gives 50 marks, that means A, B, C. Another third angles of the final recommendations means A means degree awarded, means you got more than 50 marks. B is thesis B revise and resubmit, means less than 50, means 40 to 50, means 41, 52, that type of marks you have to obtain. Means your research report was revise and resubmit, म्हणजे काही चुका सांगितलेल्या आहेत, दुरुस्ती केली आहे, तुम्हाला 50 पेक्षा कमी मार्क पडलेले आहेत. याचा अर्थ काय होतो की रिवाइज आणि रिसबमिट, किंवा रिसर्च थेसिस बी रिजेक्टेड, म्हणजे तुम्हाला 40 पेक्षाही कमी मार्क पडलेले आहेत. म्हणजे संपूर्ण 3 वर्षाचं काम तुमचं वाया गेलेलं आहे. संपूर्ण प्रोसेस, कोर्स वर्क पास झालं तर काही फायदा नाहीये, रिसर्च वर्क काम केले फायदा नाहीये. तुम्हाला जर 40 पेक्षा जर कमी मार्क आले तर संपूर्ण पाण्यात गेलेलं आहे. तुम्हाला पुन्हा रिव्हिजन करावं लागेल, पुन्हा कोर्स वर्क करावं लागेल, पुन्हा आणखी तसं होईल. आमच्याकडे अशा एज्युकेशन मध्ये 2 केसेस झाल्यात, थेसिस सी ग्रेड मध्ये रिजेक्टेड मध्ये आलेला आहे. म्हणजे होल 1998 पासून आतापर्यंत अशा 2 केसेस एज्युकेशन मध्ये झालेल्या आहेत. केमिस्ट्री मध्ये 1 केस झालेली आहे, बाकीचे मला काही माहित नाहीये. These are the norms and standards generally used in a research report evaluation norms and standard. आणि तिघांचे रिपोर्ट 50 पेक्षा मार्क जास्त पाहिजे. येस, एनी डिफिकल्टी आहे? काही प्रश्न? एनी क्वेश्चन्स? याच्यावर प्रश्न 100% येणार आहे. आर यू अंडरस्टँड what is concept of research report, characteristics of research report, elements of research report, sections of research report, norms and standards, evaluation of process of research report. ह्याच्यावर एक प्रश्न 1000% येणार आहे, किंवा 2 सुद्धा कव्हर होऊ शकतात. व्हॉट इज रिसर्च सिनॉप्सिस, एक्सप्लेन द एलिमेंट्स ऑफ रिसर्च सिनॉप्सिस, अशा सुद्धा प्रकारचा आलेला आहे. त्याच्यावर चॅप्टर नंबर 1 चे काय करायचे, सर्व मुद्दे लिहायचे. येस, एनी क्वेश्चन आहे? काही अडचण नसेल तर मी काही प्रश्न विचारेल.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
So dear participants, if you have any queries, please ask, because this is very important topic, not only with respect to your examination point of view, but it is very much useful for your research grant and
Yes,
just regarding your synopsis preparation. So it is very, very important topic. So if you have any difficulties, please ask.
Okay, thank you.
I think no difficulties. So I really thankful to Dr. Ashok Gingine sir for explaining very nicely this topic to our students. Sir, your guidance is very important for our students for preparation of their examination. So on behalf of all the participants and on behalf of Research Committee, Science College Nanded, I must express gratitude towards you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So dear participants, we have moved towards our next guest lecture. So before that, I request Ganesh to make co-host to Rupa Patil ma'am. Okay, thank you, Ganesh. So dear participants, today we have with us Dr. Rupa Sangvikar ma'am. She is currently working as assistant professor at Department of Botany, Biotechnology and Microbiology, NES Science College, Nanded. She has completed her graduation, post-graduation and PhD from Swami Ramanand Tirth Marathwada University, Nanded. She has also completed MBA in HR from ICFAI, Dehradun, Uttarakhand, and B.Ed from Bijapur Women's University, Bijapur, Karnataka states. She has over 11 years of academic teaching experience to undergraduate and postgraduate level, and 13 years of research experience in mycology and plant pathology. Currently, Actually, she is recognized research guide of SRTM University, Nanded in botany subject. Currently, 4 students are registered under her guidance and supervision. She is a life member of MSI, Mycological Society of India, and Indian Science Congress, Kolkata. She has participated in several workshops, conferences, seminars organized by Mycology and Plant Pathology Group. She visited National Fungal Culture Collection of India at Agarkar Research Institute, Pune, for undertaking training on morphotaxonomic identification, characterization of fungi, molecular and phylogenetic analysis of fungi. She has also visited Royal Botanical Garden, Kew, London, to broaden knowledge of plant diversity by direct observation of specimens in their habitat. She also visited Cranfield University, England, to exchange research perspective in the field of mycology and plant pathology. Her research work has resulted in 16 research articles in referred journals of national and international repute, and 2 book chapters in elsewhere publication. So, dear participants, today we have with us Dr. Rupa Sangvikar ma'am. I welcome Dr. Sangvikar ma'am on behalf of all the participants and on behalf of Research Committee, Science College, Nanded. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Dr. Marathi sir, for such nice introduction about me. Good afternoon, students. So I think I'm audible to all and my screen is being visible to all. Yes,
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, a very good afternoon to all of you. So this is Dr. Rupa Sangvikar from Science College, Department of Botany. So I'm here to speak on publication ethics. And this is your, I think, Unit 3 in your coursework. So I will try my best to cover some of the important points on publication ethics. So my content of this presentation would be, I will introduce what is public ethics, its importance, and the best practices which are set, that is some guidelines which are set by COPE and VAM, and also some terminologies like conflict of interest and about predatory journals. So I expect that the participant or the students know the meanings of certain terms which they are not aware of. And it is a very good practice that you write down some very important terms which you will have to remember. As you are a research student, you have to remember certain terms of which are you have to follow. So I will start with a quote that is on publication ethics. Here it is one of the given by Albert Einstein. So most people say that it is the intellect which will make a great scientist. They are wrong. He says that that intellect or knowledge, it doesn't make a great scientist. It is one's character. So why we are talking about character in this session today? Because ethics is dealing with the character or the code of conduct. Can anyone, tell me the meaning of ethics? What do you understand by the word ethics? Anyone? Just let's have an interactive session. Let's discuss it. Can anyone tell me what do you mean by ethics? How do you understand ethics?
Ethics means standard.
Ethics means standard. Okay, good. And what kind of standard?
Ethics guides us what to do and what not to do, ma'am.
Okay, good, Arshia. Very good. So ethics is a code of conduct, I can say, and we can say that they are moral principles, or what is wrong, what is right. So in general we say, "Arey, isko manners nahi hai." If someone is stealing or someone is lying to you, or someone is trying to cheat with you, we use certain words in our language. So that is our language. But when you use ethics, certain standards or certain code of conduct, certain moral principles that you have to follow during the research. When you're conducting your research, you have to follow certain, some code of conduct. So that we are going to see publication may, research may, what kind of misconduct or what kind of वायलेशन होता है इसमें, तो हम इसमें I will use all the languages so that you will be comfortable. So इसमें you can manners को, ethics को, जैसे हम manners बोलते हैं या bad habits बोलते हैं, what is wrong और right बोलते हैं, वैसे ही हम इसको अलग अलग terms use करते हैं ethics को. हम इसको misconduct बोल सकते हैं, हम इसको code of conduct बोल, we can say too many words on this, like we can say that it's a moral principles based on, and code of conduct, or many things. So now we are talking mainly about publication ethics or your research ethics. You can see the PPTs, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's talk about research ethics. So this is one of the research ethics is one of the very crucial pillar of scientific integrity and credibility. So generally, if you want to define ethics, we define it as a set of principles that distinguishes between acceptable and unacceptable behavior or way of conducting a task. You are conducting a task. That means you are conducting a research, you are conducting an experiment, but what kind of method you are using or what way you are using, is it unethical? Is it misconduct? Is it ethical? Whatever you're doing should follow certain code of conduct from publication process to your research work. Now, let's, I'll try to divide and talk to you about publication ethics. What do you mean by publication? It is like, let's combine both these words, like publication ethics. So publication means it is dissemination of your findings. Dissemination means spreading of information. You are spreading the information to the public or the scientific, not to the public. Whole public is not interested in your research, only to the scientific community who are interested in that particular topic. You are doing a publication means you are disseminating your findings. Disseminating ka matlab hai spreading knowledge or spreading information to the scientific community. So scientific publications are subject to peer review. Now this is very important. आप कुछ भी publish करते हो, whatever you are doing, any kind of publications, they are subject to peer review. What do you mean by peer review? Anyone can tell me what is peer review?
Someone who will analyze the things what we have submitted.
Yes, Nikhil, I think, yes. Someone that someone is a person who is of your field, who is in that peer review or reviewer is, जैसे कि मैं botany में हूँ तो और कोई botany का paper publish करना है, newcomers. So if they are telling me to review that paper, I am a peer reviewer for that. So that any person who is expertise in that particular field will review your paper which is given to them. So that is called as peer review. So every publication, whatever you publish has to pass through a peer review system. So that is scientific publications are subject to peer review. So research ethics and publication. Now, this is about the introduction of what publication ethics is. So you can divide anytime the definition of publication ethics into two parts. What do you mean by publication? And you know what are ethics? It's a way you conduct your behavior that should be acceptable. It should not be unacceptable behavior. So now, if we talk about scientific publications, it is a team effort. So it's a team effort means you are doing your work, you are publishing, you are the author. So that author will give that to a journal, and that journal will pass on to a reviewer. So scientific publication, we can take it as scientific publication, it as a team, it's a teamwork. So what is the importance? Why we have to study, or what is the importance of publication ethics? Why you have to follow all these things? So because this gives a validity to your research. You are publishing some essential component in your for the development of that particular knowledge. It is a scientific truth. It is a publication will directly reflect the quality of your work and also the quality of the institutions in which you are carrying the research. So it is important that you, this is the most important part of publication ethics is, it will directly reflect कि आप किस प्रकार का work कर रहे हो, वो quality है क्या, and जिस institution में आप कर रहे हो, वो institution का quality represent करता है. If you are doing good work or you are following ethics, so it is very important to agree the standards. You have to do your work or do your publication getting ethics in between. So ethical behavior of all the parties which are involved in writing or publishing of science. So any violation, आप कोई भी violation करते हो, so that will affect the quality and integrity of science. So in general, you are misconducting or you are not obeying the science. You are insulting the integrity of science. You are insulting the quality of science if you are doing some kind of violations. So now we will come to what kind of violations, publication, misbehavior किसको बोलते हैं, misconduct किसको बोलते हैं, what are the different types of errors or ethical violations जो होता है. It happens आपके सबमिशन से लेकर, आप जब आपका पेपर सबमिट कर रहे हो, सबमिशन से लेके रिव्यू करने तक, those scientific articles, they go under major things of, there are many things. We will discuss here some important points like data fabrication, falsification, plagiarism, redundant, what is duplicate publication, conflict of interest, authorship, and simultaneous publication. So yes, what are all this? These are all referring to the violation, or these are referring to the unethical practices which are followed during the publication process. So first of all, I will explain you data fabrication. So data fabrication is again a fraud है. Research में जो कुछ unethical practices होते हैं, what are the frauds which are going on in research? So data fabrication is one of the research fraud we can say. So this data fabrication refers to publication that report or results and that draw conclusions from data that are not generated by study. Now see, fabrication and falsification. Fabrication एक term है, falsification another term है. So most often you get confused between fabrication and falsification. These are all unethical practices which you should know. Now fabrication means what? It is called as a research fraud. Means you are not even doing any research. You are just fabricating the data. You are drawing conclusions that are not at all generated. आपने कोई research नहीं किया, आपने कोई study नहीं किया, आप बस वो data अपने दिल से बना रहे हो और या तो आप उसको fabricate कर रहे हो. आपका data वो आपके study से आया वाला है नहीं. You just want to produce something. That is called as data fabrication. For example, अगर मान लो आपके research में कुछ questionnaire है, आप questionnaire का सही मायने में रिसर्च क्या होता है कि आप उस व्यक्ति के पास जाकर आपका क्वेश्चनर उसको देकर उससे क्वेश्चंस पूछोगे और आप उसको आंसर्स, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज एग्जैक्ट रिसर्च. बट आप जस्ट एक क्वेश्चनर बना दोगे और आपके घर पे बैठ के आप ही वो क्वेश्चन का आंसर लिख दोगे, दैट मीन्स यू आर नॉट डूइंग रियल रिसर्च. सो दैट इज कॉल्ड एज डाटा फैब्रिकेशन. That means you are not doing any work, you are just fabricating your study. So you are that is one of the biggest research fraud I can say. Next is falsification. Often most of the people get confused between fabrication and falsification. Fabrication में आप कोई research नहीं conduct कर रहे, आप अपने दिल से you are trying to make something out of your own, like just filling the questionnaire बना रहे हो खुद ही, आंसर भी खुद ही कर रहे हो, उसको हम fabrication बोलते हैं. Falsification is you are conducting the research, but you are converting the data according to you. आप डाटा को मैन्युपुलेट कर रहे हो, यू आर मैन्युपुलेटिंग द रिसर्च मटेरियल्स। आप अगर वो इक्विपमेंट आपने यूज भी नहीं किया तो आपके पब्लिकेशन में आप डाल दो कि मैंने ये यूज किया है। आप वो डाटा को आपके अकॉर्डिंगली चेंज कर रहे हो क्योंकि रिजल्ट आपका अच्छा आ जाए। So this is again another research fraud. So it is means whatever you are putting in the data, आप research conduct कर रहे हो लेकिन आप सब false results दे रहे हो according to you, so that वो अच्छे results दिखाए। या अगर आप मान लो आप कोई लैब वर्क में कुछ ग्रो कर रहे हो, उसके कुछ पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव रिजल्ट्स आए, लेकिन एक अच्छा रिसर्च के लिए वो रिजल्ट पॉजिटिव चाहिए, तो अगर आपको नेगेटिव भी आ रहा है तो आप उसमें पॉजिटिव डाल दोगे। सो दिस इज कॉल्ड एज falsification. So there is a difference between fabrication, falsification. Fabrication is not doing any research. Falsification is you're modifying the data, you're changing the data according to you. You are manipulating. Literally, you are manipulating. So this is another kind of research fraud. Then we'll talk about plagiarism. तो इसका मैंने बहुत सेपरेट प्लैगरिज्म पे बहुत मैंने दूसरा भी पीपीटी बनाया है, बट इन जनरल प्लैगरिज्म इज अनदर काइंड ऑफ फ्रॉड. सो मोस्ट ऑफ यू मस्ट बी अवेयर. सो इफ यू आर कॉपिंग सम अदर पर्सन्स आइडियाज, किसी और का मेथड्स यूज कर रहे हो, किसी और के रिजल्ट्स ले रहे हो, किसी और के वर्ड्स ले रहे हो, आप उनका आप एक रिसर्च पेपर देखने के बाद एज इट इज यू आर विदाउट साइटिंग देम. Citation is another word I will talk to you about. So without giving any credit to the author, if you are giving that kind of, you are stealing the ideas, you're taking the methods, you're using the words as it is, that is called as plagiarism. So again, it depends upon plagiarism also. It can be of two types depending on the extent of content which has been reproduced. So we'll talk about plagiarism in detail. I'll talk about another fraud which is called as duplicate publication. So duplicate publication is if you are submitting a new manuscript containing the same thesis, same hypothesis, data, discussion points or conclusions which have already published. अगर आप एक पेपर पब्लिश करते हो और उसी पेपर पब्लिश होने के बाद भी आप वही पब्लिश्ड पेपर से और वही डेटा चुराते हो, वही डेटा फिर से दूसरे पेपर में डालते हो एज इट इज, थोड़ा सा चेंजेस करके, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज डुप्लीकेट पब्लिकेशन. दिस इज अनदर रिसर्च फ्रॉड. सो दिस इज लिस्ट ऑफ रिसर्च फ्रॉड which I am discussing. Then plagiarism and conflict of interest are very important. I will throw a separate light on it by different PPTs. Now, I'm just trying to explain some kind of frauds. Now, conflict of interest. So, conflict of interest is another very major fraud. So, conflict of interest means it is like, it is described as more than agar koi personal interest, more than one interest and are against each other. Koi personal रिसर्च करने का आपका कोई पर्सनल इंटेंशन है, रिसर्च को बाजू में छोड़कर अगर आप यू आर पॉइंटिंग इट ऑन पर्सनल इंटरेस्ट, आपका वो रिसर्च करने का मेन इंटेंशन है फाइनेंशियल गेन और पर्सनल, then that is called as conflict of interest. We'll go into detail of this. Then authors. Again, there is no universal definition of authorship. So author कौन होता है? Author is generally, it is an individual who has made some good scientific research and he wants to contribute the research in the form of publication. उसका जो कुछ उसने किया है, उसके स्टडी को, उसके एक्सपेरिमेंट को, उसके डाटा को उसे कंट्रीब्यूट करना है. So that person is called as authors. So ICEM JEE states that all persons who are designated as authors, they should qualify for authorship and all those who qualify should be listed. मतलब ये जो मैं कुछ organizations, I will be talking about organizations, certain organizations. You have for your syllabus you have COPE and I think WAME, and ICMG JE is another organization. उन्होंने एक ऑथर का डेफिनेशन दिया है कि उसी पर्सन को ऑथर कहा जाए उनको जो क्वालिफाई होता है ऑथरशिप के लिए, जो दे शुड बी लिस्टेड, उनका एक सेपरेट कोड ऑफ कॉन्डक्ट होना चाहिए। Then so that code of, now I will talk in detail about authors. Now there are three major types of misconduct with authorship. Why that organization is telling कि आप authorship भी ऐसे लोगों को उनको listed किया is important, because if you list the authors, then the intellectual content will be validated. वो approval होता है final version. I will talk about three types of misconduct with authorship. Now you have three kinds of authors. ये again unethical authors है ये. तो ghost authors, gift authorship, and guest authorship. Now ghost authorships are those who contribute substantially in the development of the paper but are not given authorship or acknowledgement in the published paper. Ghost authors म्हणजे वो कभी दिखेगा ही नहीं. मतलब if you are, आप कोई काम कर रहे हो, you are doing every work, पूरा result, आप पूरा एक्सपेरिमेंट से लेकर मेथड से लेकर रिजल्ट तक आपने ही काम किया है, बट आपका नाम कहीं नहीं है. You are contributing this development of a paper and your name is not acknowledged in the paper at all. This is again a unethical practice. So जो ऑथर काम करने के बाद जिनका नाम भी रिफ्लेक्ट नहीं होता है उस पेपर में, उनको हम गोस्ट ऑथर्स बोलते हैं. देन गिफ्ट ऑथरशिप, दिस इज अनदर, ये सब अनएथिकल प्रैक्टिसेस है. गिफ्ट ऑथरशिप इज एक अनएथिकल प्रैक्टिस है. इट इज टिपिकली प्रोवाइडेड टू द हेड ऑफ द इंस्टीट्यूशंस और डिपार्टमेंट इवन विदाउट सिग्निफिकेंट कंट्रीब्यूशन टू अ पर्टिकुलर स्टडी. आपके हेड ऑफ द डिपार्टमेंट या आपके इंस्टीट्यूशन के डिपार्टमेंट आपसे काम करवा रहे हैं पूरा, और they are publishing in their name and they are not even there is no, your name is not listed anyway without any, they don't even know कि क्या कैसा काम किया आपने, कैसा एक्सपेरिमेंट किया, कैसे स्टडी किया. You are carrying the work and you are, that is called as gift authorship. You are giving away your work to your head of the institution because he is the head of your department or head of the institution. So that's why you are giving the work to them. And he is not at all aware of what work. He will just put his name and publish. That is called as gift authorship. Then guest authorship. So this is usually provided to individuals whose presence as a co-author significantly improves chances of acceptance of the manuscript. Guest authorship is again, all the work is done by you. इसमें आपका भी नाम होगा, but you are giving, you are involving a guest. That is, he or she will be a co-author. Why you are taking her, he or she as a co-author without any contribution of that particular person? अगर उस person का आप नाम डालते हो, तो आपका पेपर accept होने के chances, आपका पेपर manuscript. Let's use the word manuscript hereafter. हम उसको paper नहीं, हम उसको manuscript बोलेंगे. Manuscript is very, you can use because you all are researchers. You should be using manuscript. So whatever detailed write-up है उसको हम manuscript बोलते हैं. So without any significant contribution of that particular person, you are taking he or she only because it will improve the chances of acceptance of the manuscript. अगर आप उनका नाम डालते हो तो आपका manuscript बहुत जल्दी accept हो जाएगा. So those are called as guest authorships. So major, ये three major types of misconduct of authorship है. कौन से? Ghost, gift और guest. So ये तीनों में I hope you understood the difference between the ghost, gift and guest authorship. So this again, now this is again about why you have to study importance of publication ethics. I told you what is publication ethics, what are the unethical practices which you will be studying in publication, and why you have to study. So if you don't put publication ethics in your whatever you are doing, ये concept अगर आप नहीं रखते हो, so what are the chances of happening? So if you keep when you are doing research, so this will enhance, publication ethics will enhance the institute and research reputation. It will open doors to collaboration and funding. If you are following publication ethics, you are not doing any fraud. So this anybody will be ready to collaborate with you. आपके साथ कोई भी collaboration करके काम करने की तैयारी रखता है. If you are doing ethically, आपका research अगर आप ethically कर रहे हो. And then even funding agencies will be ready to fund you. So fund if you follow this. So this is importance of publication ethics. It will attract young researchers. You will stop waste of researchers. Your time is wasted. Money is also not wasted. So it will promote ethical practices, and also it will. आप follow कर रहे हो publication ethics, so it will encourage others also to follow the same. And you can stop this predatory journal publication. Predatory journals pay also will, I have a separate PPT I will be taking. Predatory journals, then societal and institutional recognition, so awards and all. It will provide facts and figures to counter fake news. So hey sir, if you're going through publication, this is the importance of publication ethics. So all the fake points will be highlighted. So these are certain, again, the same thing which has given in this. So these are all unethical practices. जो red color में दिख रहा है आपको, ये सारा unethical practices है. Carelessness, redundant publication, unfair authorship, undeclared conflict of interest, human animal subjects violation, plagiarisms, and other kinds of frauds. So इसमें भी punishments होता है, मतलब punishment मतलब आपको jail वगैरह नहीं होती है. You have to आपका publication वापस आ जाएगा when it is not passing through the plagiarism. So entirely this is another new key. What kind of actions are taken if it is found that you are doing unethical practices? आपका manuscript reject हो जाएगा. Your colleagues unfair authorship. If you are doing some unfair kind of authorships, then it will be complained to the editor, then this will be notified. Then all these ethical reviews जो है, then there will be even notification for your. अगर आप plagiarism में आपका सारा काम आप इधर उधर से copy करके करते हो, सारा आपका material plagiarized है, तो again notification is given to your employer. So there are many kinds of punishments. You can say ये publication research के world में भी punishments होते हैं कि what kind of punishments are given if you are practicing unfair practices. So ये सब to govern all this. Now this was about importance, some ethical practices and all. So now we will talk about the next topic, which is best practices and standards setting initiatives and guidelines, which were given by COP and WAN. तो सबसे पहले तो ये दो गवर्निंग बॉडीज है. दे आर पब्लिकेशन, ये बॉडीज है जो एथिकल प्रैक्टिसेस को, बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस की पॉलिसीज निकालते हैं ये लोग, एंड दे एक्सपेक्ट दैट यू फॉलो अकॉर्डिंगली. आपका कोई भी रिसर्च पेपर COP और WAN के गाइडलाइंस फॉलो करते हुए दे हैव टू गो फॉरवर्ड, देन इट इज कॉल्ड इट एज अ ऑथराइज्ड वन. सो आई विल टॉक अबाउट COP. COP का this is abbreviated form, Committee on Publication Ethics. COP means Committee on Publication Ethics. So this was founded. COP was founded in. It is an international organization. Okay, COP is an international organization, and this was founded in 1997. So जो भी research और publication में problems हो रहे हैं, जो भी unethical practices हो रहा है, all this has been addressed by this. This committee gives guidelines on good publication practice. So it is one of, you can say that it is a voluntary organization. It is a voluntary organization. It is promoting research integrity. आप अपने research में एक uniformity, integrity आना चाहिए, honesty होना चाहिए. So that's why this organization was come into. It's a charitable company. So it was registered in UK. This COP was registered in UK. So what does it do? This organization, इसका main role क्या है? ये particular guidelines बनाती है कि इसका main aim है कि आप उस गाइडलाइंस को फॉलो करना चाहिए एंड फाइंड प्रैक्टिकल वेज ऑफ डीलिंग विद द इश्यूज एंड ऑल्सो यू शुड डेवलप गुड प्रैक्टिस, जैसे कि आपके रिसर्च में ऑनेस्टी होना चाहिए, आप जो भी करते हैं इट शुड फॉलो पब्लिकेशन एथिक्स एंड इट शुड प्रिवेंट। आप पब्लिकेशन एथिक्स फॉलो कर रहे हो देन यू विल definitely you are preventing misconduct. So this committee is mainly established or it is mainly formed because of this. So it's a charitable you can say it's a charitable company, non profitable. यहाँ पे कोई कमाने के लिए नहीं बैठा है, ये कंपनी हमें कुछ पैसा मिलेगा, हम कुछ इसमें फाइनेंशियल गेन करेंगे, इसके लिए ये सिर्फ गाइडलाइंस देती है कि आपको इस तरह से आपको यू हैव टू, इट विल एजुकेट इन एथिक्स. With this organization will educate you in terms of ethics, and also it will address some ethical issues. Addressing ethical issues मतलब कोई किसी से कोई मिसकॉन्डक्ट हो जाता है, वायलेशन हो जाता है, तो उसको हम कैसा टैकल करें या इसको हम कैसा रिजॉल्व करें. कोई भी प्रॉब्लम किसी के इससे कुछ हो जाता है, उसके he does some unethical practice in the publication process, so how to deal with it. So this basically this organization's role is to educate in ethics, address and also address particular ethical issues. So this is like this is ये सब written form में जो भी मैंने बोला ये सब written form में है कि this is they will address, they will जो भी ethical data analysis करेंगे वो they give certain policies. ये सारे policies को redundant publication ये सबको वो address करते हैं. कौन से आपने वो अनएथिकल प्रैक्टिसेस देखे हैं, फॉल्सिफिकेशन, फैब्रिकेशन, प्लैगरिज्म, ड्यूटीज ऑफ एडिटर्स, ये सब गाइडलाइंस को वो लोग गाइडलाइंस देते हैं एंड आल्सो दे एंडोर्स द गाइडलाइंस. सो they will study design, they will good research should be well justified. इनके policies के हिसाब से ये है study design and ethical approval. So एक अच्छा research should be well justified, it should be well planned. आपका research justification होना चाहिए, अच्छे plan होना चाहिए, उसकी design appropriately design होना चाहिए, and it should be ethically approved. And to conduct research to a lower standard may constitute, मतलब आपका research should be always following the standard. Conducting in a lower standard मतलब you are going towards misconduct. Then data analysis. आप जो data collect करते हो जो भी आपके research के लिए, it should be appropriate, it should be analyzed. Inappropriate analyze again is misconduct. आप अगर inappropriate analysis करते हो जिसमें ये सब आता है, fabrication, falsification, again authorship. So universally agreed definition of authorship so कोई है नहीं, but you should have minimum आप एक author की responsibility लेना चाहिए. कौन सा भी सेक्शन ऑफ स्टडी हो, अगर आप काम कर रहे हो तो यू शुड सी दैट यू आर नॉट गिविंग द ऑथरशिप टू एनीवन एल्स बिकॉज ऑफ सम पर्सनल इंटरेस्ट और सम फाइनेंशियल issues. So that should be followed. So this COPE takes care of all these things. Again, ये conflict of interest comes again in this, which may be fully, we have already discussed and talked about conflict of interest. So if I can talk on detail of conflict of interest, so this is like professional hota hai, jaise ki I will give you an example of conflict of interest. Like so our article, it should not be affected positively or negatively on other individuals. आप जो भी रिसर्च कर रहे हो सिर्फ रिसर्च के वास्ते करना चाहिए आपको. यू आर डूइंग प्योरली टू फॉर रिसर्च, नॉट बिकॉज आपका रिसर्च किसी फाइनेंशियल गेन के लिए या आप किसी फ्रेंड पे या ऑथर पे यू आर डूइंग सम फेवर और यू आर डूइंग बेस्ड ऑन बिकॉज यू आर गोइंग टू गेट मनी आउट ऑफ इट, या तो आप ऐसा आर्टिकल लिख रहे हो जो दूसरे के कॉम्पिटिटर को आप मतलब ये तो दिस हैपेंस इन इंडस्ट्रियल लेवल दैट conflict of interest, or you are doing research purposely, you are having a grudge against that particular method. So आप उसको वो grudge निकालने के लिए आप दूसरे इंस्टीट्यूशन के पीपल का मेथड गलत है ये बोलने के लिए अगर आप रिसर्च कर रहे हो, या आप किसी उस रिसर्च पेपर से आप कुछ आपका इंटरेस्ट पर्सनल है, फाइनेंशियल है, तो उसको हम कॉन्फ्लिक्ट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट बोलते हैं. So it may be due to research fundings, it may be anything. And now peer reviewers, I talked about peer reviewers. Again, peer reviewers are experts. तो ये peer reviewers को कौन choose करता है? Editors choose करते हैं. So ये लोग क्या करते हैं? They will write opinions. अगर आपका पेपर उनको सही लगा तो they will accept it, and also they will correct it if they will write, they will give a write up. ये COPE has established a peer review system. So they will work on your paper, and working methods also will vary from journal to journal. सबका procedures अलग-अलग होता है working का. Then redundant publication. Same redundant publication or duplicate publication का मतलब एक ही है. Redundant publications are those publications which are when two or more papers को आप same तरह सा information देके, if you are producing the data in the same way, then it is called as a redundant publication. Yes, now I will try to talk more about plagiarism, which is an important concept, and how to avoid it. Now, plagiarism is ranging from, plagiarism means it refers to using of others' data, using of others' ideas. So including some from the research grant application to submission, you are copying someone else's language. आपका complete paper में किसी और का language है. You have not done any work of your own, but उसी data को आप थोड़ा सा इधर उधर बदल के you are doing. So plagiarism will occur at any stage. आपका stage, आप जब सोचते हो कि मुझे कुछ research paper बनाना है, तो पहले आप plan करते हो. आपका first तो you will plan, then you will write up. So ये सब किसी stage में it might happen. और सबसे ज्यादा plagiarism, सबसे research publication, सबसे most vulnerable part of plagiarism in any research publication is methods. आप बहुत when we want to publish, हम किसी और का paper देखते हैं, and सबसे vulnerable part कौन सा है? आप वही method चुराते हो. Whatever methods what is used by them, same methods you will put it as it is. So this is so I can say कि सबसे vulnerable part जो है research publication में वो methods. So इसको भी हम कैसे avoid कर सकते हैं? How to avoid plagiarism? Another form is self plagiarism. Self plagiarism means what? जहाँ आप समझ लो आपने एक पेपर पब्लिश कर दिया और आपको दूसरा पेपर पब्लिश करना है, तो आप आपके ही खुद के ही पेपर से आप कॉपी पेस्ट करके वही आप दूसरा पेपर बनाते हो. दैट इज कॉल्ड एज सेल्फ प्लैगरिज्म. कहीं और से चुराते हो, कहीं और से मेथड्स लेते हो, दैट इज प्लैगरिज्म. लेकिन सेल्फ प्लैगरिज्म मीन्स आपके ही पब्लिकेशन में से आप सिर्फ थोड़ा सा टेबल्स में चेंजेस कर लेते हो, थोड़ा सा मेथड्स में चेंजेस करके कॉपी पेस्ट करके सेम यू विल पुट. दैट इज कॉल्ड एज सेल्फ प्लैगरिज्म. So without providing any kind of copyright or clearance certificate from the publishers. Now, how to avoid this? Yes, a plagiarism. Plagiarism is a one form of cheating. You are taking as it is the data. इसको हम avoid भी कर सकते हैं. How to avoid it? The best way of avoiding plagiarism is to cite. Can anyone tell me what is citation or what is cite? Yes? Citation का मतलब क्या होता है? Okay. Anyone? Okay, fine.
I'm referring, I think.
Yes, Nikhil?
Ma'am, referring a thing like.
Oh yeah, referring a thing means like what kind of reference? Can you explain?
Like from movies.
Okay, your word telling that reference is appropriate and correct, but let me explain it to you in detail. So the best way you avoid plagiarism is to cite others' work. Always in the research articles, आपको citation, आप भले उनके words लो, उनके ideas लो, but आपको उनको credit देना है. जैसे कि मेरा पेपर है, आपको मेरा पेपर या किसी और का पेपर पसंद आया, आपको यू वांट टू टेक दोज वर्ड्स इन योर पेपर, you want to take those methods in because हम एकदम से प्रोटोकॉल नहीं बना सकते, एकदम से we have to follow certain papers, we have to see कि दूसरों लोगों ने क्या काम किया है, उनके हेल्प से हम पेपर्स बना सकते हैं। बट हम अगर उनको बिना क्रेडिट दिए हम ऐसा प्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं कि ये हमने ही किया है काम, तो दैट इज अगेन चीटिंग। आपको उनको क्रेडिट देना है। आप किसी और का मेथड ले रहे हो, किसी और के आइडियाज ले रहे हो, किसी और के वर्ड्स ले रहे हो रिसर्च पेपर से, तो आपको उनको साइट करना है, CITE। तो कहीं कहीं साइटेशन बोलते हैं, कहीं पे साइट बोलते हैं, तो यू शुड नो द मीनिंग्स। आई टोल्ड यू इन द बिफोर ओनली कि आपके ओन लैंग्वेज में इसका मीनिंग्स आपके नोट्स में लिखो, बिकॉज ये ऐसे वर्ड्स, यू आर अ रिसर्चर नाउ, यू आर गोइंग टू डू PhD, यू शुड नो व्हाट यू मीन बाय साइटेशन, साइटिंग करना मतलब क्या, ऑल दिस यू शुड बी। सो द बेस्ट वे टू अवॉइड प्लैगरिज्म, आप उस ऑथर को साइट कर दो, मतलब आप उसका जो भी काम है वो कोटेशन मार्क्स में, पुट द साइटेड वर्ड्स इन कोटेशन मार्क्स। मतलब वो जो भी आपका पीयर रिव्यू कर रहा है उसको ऐसा आपको ये करना है कि यस यू हैव गिवन क्रेडिट टू द ऑथर। आप उसको ये कर रहे हो कि ये आपका नहीं है, हमने किसी और से, मतलब वी गॉट टू द आइडियाज एंड यू आर गिविंग आल्सो द क्रेडिट टू द ऑथर। दैट्स द बेस्ट वे टू अवॉइड प्लैगरिज्म। If you are citing someone's work, that means if you are giving credit to the author who has done the work, then that is called as citation. Or you are seeking the permission from appropriate authorities for reference. आपको किसी का टेबल, किसी के इमेजेस, किसी के फिगर्स आपको पेपर में देखने के बाद आपको लगता है कि मेरे पेपर में भी ऐसा होना चाहिए, ऐसे फिगर्स होने चाहिए, ऐसे टेबल्स मैंने डालना चाहिए, तो आपको ये आइडिया कहाँ से आया? वो पेपर देखने के बाद आया। तो आप क्रेडिट किसको दोगे? आप ऐसा, यू कांट से कि मैंने किया ये इमेज, मैंने टेबल मेरा डाला है। सो यू हैव टू गिव क्रेडिट, यू हैव टू सीक परमिशन। आप एक तो वो अप्रोप्रिएट जो कुछ अथॉरिटी है उनसे आप मेल करो या यू टेक परमिशन ऑफ दैट की we are going to use, we are citing your tables or figures. So that is again, that is seeking permission from appropriate authorities for reference to cite the tables. And methods and literature review should be paraphrased. Now what you mean by paraphrasing? So paraphrasing is very, again, this is another important way of avoiding plagiarism. So methods and literature reviews, देखो methods आप अपने खुद के ओन तो कुछ बना सकते हो अगर आप ट्राई, लेकिन कुछ ऐसे स्टैंडर्ड्स मेथड्स होते हैं जो all the researchers have worked and they put into there and you want to take that method, क्योंकि वो मेथड करने के बाद ही आपको रिजल्ट आएगा। तो ऐसा नहीं कि मतलब you can do your own method and create, so sometimes you don't. So if you want to take method, you can take it, but you have to paraphrase it. Again, paraphrase का meaning होता है वही method के आपको words थोड़ा सा change करना है। Take the same method, वही method लो, क्योंकि अगर आपको वो कैल्शियम कार्बोनेट या सम सोडियम मैग्नीशियम कुछ डालने से ही वो रिजल्ट आएगा, तो आपको वही यूज करना है, आपको किसी और नहीं। So some researchers have done certain methods and kept, and you want to take the same method, तो वो you have to paraphrase the methods. मतलब paraphrasing मतलब उसी पैराग्राफ या उसी मेथड का phrases आप change कर रहे हो, sentences change, you can do change the sentences and then you can put the method. मतलब it refers that it is not as it is. So this is another method of avoiding plagiarism. Okay, so I wanted to talk briefly on plagiarism. So then another association is there, WAM. कॉप के बाद सेम ऐसा ही है, वैम भी एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ही है, वैम ऑल्सो। तो वैम इज अगेन मेडिकल, ये स्पेशली मेडिकल क्लिनिकल रिसर्चर्स के लिए है, मेडिकल जर्नल्स के लिए है। तो दिस इज एन एडिटर एसोसिएशन, अगेन इट इज अ नॉन प्रॉफिटेबल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एंड दिस इज स्पेसिफिकली फॉर मेडिकल जर्नल्स। सो अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड जितने भी मेडिकल जर्नल्स है तो उसको कंट्रोल, मतलब उसको रेगुलेट करता है वैम। So this इनका एक peer review system है, they have a own peer review system जहाँ पे ओरिजिनल वर्क जो क्लिनिकल रिसर्चर्स है वो वैम थ्रू ही पास होता है, वो उनका ओरिजिनल वर्क होता है जो वेल डॉक्यूमेंटेड होता है, देयर रिसर्च। देन जो भी मेडिसिन के एरियाज है, जो फिजिशियंस है whoever the doctors, clinical researchers, physicians, वो जो भी research करते हैं नया, तो वो WAM through जाता है. So WAM is World Association of Medical Editors. So इनका काम है, they are working towards public health improvement. So ये सारे, so ये this is again they mostly this aspires for a very high quality science because it is a clinical trial. So this has to, WAM is a World Association of Medical Editors. So they have designed certain policies, same policies. हर एक मतलब whatever we are talking about कि peer review system, study design, authorship, originality, plagiarism, ये सब misconduct, they have to follow the same policies. Both of the organizations कम ज़्यादा से वही policies they use. They should be conflict of interest and all. I will talk to you about conflict of interest in detail and how you have to. So conflict of interest. So COI. So conflict of interest is often most of them don't understand कि ये क्या है, what is this conflict of interest. So all the manuscripts, आपका original research work, all the whichever are submitted, that they are submitted journal, they should have conflict of interest. आप जो भी submit करते हो, मतलब it's form of declaration. आप declare कर रहे हो कि मेरे ये paper में किसी चीज का personal interest नहीं है या financial interest नहीं. So you are declaring your conflict of interest. You have to declare. आपका research आपके publication में आपके even आपका PhD का thesis जो होता है उसमें भी conflict of interest लिखना पड़ता है. मतलब if someone you are doing the research, आपको ये research आपका काम करने के लिए कोई funding agency ने आपको finances provide किया है, so आपको वो conflict of interest में mention करना है कि so and so funding agency से मुझे ये काम करने के लिए I got this funding. So that is all articles which are published, they should have conflict of interest. So हम इसको declaration भी बोलते हैं, हम इसको disclosure statement भी बोलते हैं. That is a statement that authors are writing that they have no conflict of interest. मतलब वो लोग declare करते हैं कि इसमें conflict of interest है नहीं. So अगर आप declare नहीं करते हैं तो वो journal में it should have, उसमें भी आपको लिख के आता है कि the author is not having anyone, मतलब कोई conflict of interest है नहीं. आपको own कर रहे हो तो फिर आप किसी को conflict of interest वहाँ पे भी declare करना है कि ये सब मैंने किया है किसी funding agency से और या there is no conflict of interest करते. So all these are some types. And also conflict of interest, this includes all financial and non-financial interest and relationships with the direct employment with the private sector. So authors always, you make a point that you should disclose कुछ भी conflict of interest जो है that जिसके लिए आपको ये research करना पड़ा किसी personal intention के लिए या किसी pressure की वजह से if you are doing, then that also should be fair means. So and अगर आपको कोई help करता है वो research में उसका भी नाम आपको mention करना है. That means basically you are going to, you are acknowledging that person. You are acknowledging that person and you should not आपका topic किसी religion को hurt करने या किसी rivalries या किसी academic interest नहीं होना चाहिए. It should not hurt. आपका main intention सिर्फ research होना चाहिए. So there will be if किसी के sentiments किसी को hurt करने वाला research purposely आपको करना है तो कौन सा भी research आप with the purpose of creating some conflict, it should not be. आपका topic भी relevant होना चाहिए. It should not have any personal or financial interest. So non-financial conflicts. So authors, so like for example, आपको JRF, some people are researchers are on JRF, so you should thank the institution. You should acknowledge, the JRF student should acknowledge the institution जहाँ से आपको funding, any funding received should be so totally it should be acknowledged in your research. So and all the results, like personal conflict क्या होता है, I'll try to explain non-financial. नॉन फाइनेंशियल इज कॉल्ड एज अ पर्सनल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, मतलब आपको किसी इंस्टीट्यूशन पे ग्रज है या आपको आपके रिजल्ट आप वो इंस्टीट्यूशन को यू वांट टू have some conflict so with that organization or any kind of, so that is called as non-financial. So authors they should have strong views about the article which is being submitted, and they should not be involved in any personal political kind of which is relevant to the submission process. So they come in the non-financial. So how do I make a declaration? So aapko I told you ki at the आपके सब research publications में it is mandatory that you put declaration or conflict of interest. So if you are submitting your article for publishing a journal that requires you to make a declaration of conflict of interest, so you have to acknowledge it, you have to refer it under the heading as conflict of interest. So अगर आप declaration नहीं कर रहे हो, if you are not wanting to make any declaration, again also it will be printed that none declared. Alternately, you should you may also wish to state that the authors declare that there is no conflict of interest. ये अगर आपको किसी को acknowledge नहीं करना है, आपने खुद ही काम किया है, आपके own पैसों से काम किया है, आपको कहीं से funding नहीं मिली है, so you have मिली है या ना मिली हो, you have to declare. So conflict of interest में you have to declare that author declares that there is no conflict of interest. So this is kind of, you have to declare in your research, another important point in publication ethics. Then the last topic is about predatory publisher and journals. Now, anyone can tell me what is predatory journals?
Fake journals.
Yes, very good. Fake journals बोल सकते हैं हम उसको, bogus journals, or you can say pseudo journals या fraudulent journals. So ये सब again this is one of the biggest unethical practice, क्योंकि this predatory publishers, जो publishers होते हैं predatory journals के, उनका main goal होता है profit. उनको they are just sitting there to gain money. So they are referred to as bogus journals, or you can say they are referred to as fake journals. So sometimes they are called deceptive, exploitative. This is kind of exploitation which is happening. So ये एक business model है, एक business हो चुका है अभी. तो इसमें कैसा है? They charge high publication fee to the authors. They don't even check your article for quality. आपका article quality है या नहीं, valid है नहीं, वो कुछ नहीं. They will उनका main goal होता है आपको attract करना. Especially ये सब, this happens with new researchers who are not even aware. उनको लगता है अरे my work is accepted, मतलब good, I have to send to this journal करके. But they are not aware whether this journal is accepted, either whether it is valid or not. So it happens even in case of people who are wanting promotions. Like when we are appointed, when we are on a permanent post, we want to achieve our promotions immediately. We want incentives. We want to go to the next levels of academically very fast. So we want. So what happens? We are not aware. Okay, we will publish it. Chalo, paise, we will give the fees and publish it. And to the new researchers, ये लोग target करते हैं. पहले they will say that these predatory journals, they will target the new scholars from the developing countries. They are at high risk. जो new scholars है developing countries के, वो सबसे ज़्यादा risk में है ये predatory publishers के साथ. तो study भी किया है इसमें कि according to one study, 60% of articles published in predatory journals, they receive no citation. उनको citation ही नहीं मिलता over 5 years of period. So ये self-advertise. This is a profit-making big business from new researchers. So they will self-advertise करते हैं वो, and वो खुद ही आपको पूछते हैं आपका manuscript दो. No reputed journal will ask you कि आपका हमको manuscript दो करके. No reputed journal will approach you personally. This is one of the, आपको identify कैसा करना है ये predatory journals है कि वो खुद ही आपको approach करते हैं. So anyone you can find out. Most of the new scholars are at high risk because they are not aware. उनको लगता है ठीक है. At first they will say कि there is no submission fees at all. So what you do? आप submit कर देते हो. फिर again they will tell you that yes, we need a publication fee now. So these are called predatory journals who are not having any validity in the field of research. So there are many complaints that are associated with predatory open access publishing. So one of the most important part which you should know that how to find out. आपको कैसा पता करना है कि ये predatory journal है. तो आपको you have to anyone जो editorial board में है, see that if you can contact them. So if any authority, they will attract you so much that you will feel कि no ये तो valid ही journal है. वो लोग उनका advertisement भी ऐसे करेंगे और वो लोग बड़े-बड़े नाम they put their words like Swiss Canadian research ऐसा they will put some they will try to attract you कि यार ये international level का है. So when you read you feel कि no this journal is very nice, let me publish it. So don't fall a prey to all this kind of. You have to check with the colleagues. आपके colleagues के साथ check करो, आप पूछताछ करो, आपके और किसी experienced person के साथ ये journal का invitation आया है, is this a good one? इसकी indexing है क्या? Try to contact the people with that कि ये so you can say that ये सब mirror real journals हैं. So ये सब आपको confuse करता है. They will attract you. They are attracting because you are all inexperienced. आपको experience आप just research के नए young budding researchers हो. तो आपको they will mislead you. And the first thing another important thing you can find out is they are not listed. ये journals listed है क्या? Open Access Scholarly Publisher Association में इनका listing है क्या? Check with it. You have to check if they are listed in the Open Access Scholarly Publisher Association. So, and if they are accepting articles very quickly, तो इसमें even peer review नहीं होता है. मतलब आपका article कोई और वही field का expertise, they are not reviewing your work as well. So you have to notify this, and they will also appoint editorial board पे ऐसे लोगों का appointment होता है जो उस field के expertise भी नहीं. So they are listing those academicians, they are appointing fake academics to the editorial board. So इनका सारा system ही it is controlled by all the fake editors, fake board of trustees. All this they come under this. So predatory publishers का self interest है. They will deviate the best editorial and publication practices. They will author इसमें how to identify is author fees, no quality check, ISSN number जो होता है उसमें नहीं होता है, और इसमें peer review और ethical approval भी नहीं होता है. आपको ethical approval जब COPE और WAMS का approval है मतलब वो journal is valid journal. COPE and WAM are such organizations which are giving ethical policies. So if you talk about the best practices, one of the most important things to promote ethical publication is to encourage the research integrity among researchers. And COPE is one such research organization which will monitor. It is monitoring all the research ethics, including publications. And research institutions will bear primary responsibility. आप जिस institute में research conduct कर रहे हो, that will bear the primary responsibility for promoting a culture of good scientific conduct among the researchers and students. And any punishment of scientific misconduct is also there. So publishers, editors, and peer reviewers. So editors will ensure that reviewers are adequately qualified, and journal editors, all the journal editors जो हैं, आपको जो भी आपको journal editor approach करता है वो आपको सबसे पहले link भेजना चाहिए WAM और COPE की तरफ से, so that आप authors, readers, you will go get a first hand information. आपको पहले वो लोग जो भी ethics है publication में they have to send you a link. And ethical publication, जो ethical publication है मतलब उसका peer reviewing होता है, that manuscript is bared by responsibility by the editor, and editor is to remain cultural and gender sensitive on any article. And prevention, how you prevent all this? So institute, आपका research institute must have a clear and transparent functioning on not only ethical research policy, but also on ethical publications. And a strong peer reviewing system chahiye, and latest technological support, strong publication ethic policies, active monitoring chahiye for the protection of whistleblowers. मतलब जो भी unethical practices कर रहे हैं, they should be very actively monitored so that they are corrected, they are stopped at that particular point itself. This is the role of, again, institutes also play a very clear, very important role in being transparent, giving ethical knowledge to the students, and better educations to the students on publication guidelines and ethics. Every student should know कि publication के guidelines क्या है, unethical practices का मतलब क्या है, क्या होता है अगर आप ऐसे करोगे या वैसे नहीं. So wrong or right का differences, अगर institute is promoting education to the students, then these unethical practices can be prevented. And you have to punish the unethical practices. Whoever is conducting this kind of unethical practices should be punished in terms of their research. But it is also been taken care that जो innocent है, जो कर रहे हैं, वो victims नहीं होना चाहिए. जैसे कि innocent researchers जो होते हैं, बस अपना काम, they just give it off because वो head of the institute. So all these practices you should prevent on yourself, and institutes, research institutes play a very important role in functioning, in being transparent, in educating all the young researchers. So this was all about today's publication ethics. So thank you very much for patiently listening to this topic. Any questions?
So thank you, ma'am. So dear participants, this topic is also very much important with respect to your examination point of view, and not only for, but also for your entire research work. So if you have any difficulties, please feel free to ask to madam. Yes.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
There was a point that we should not publish simultaneously.
Yes.
But if I have a paper, but that is not up to the mark that it will get published of that thing. But I want a review about that. Then should I go for it or not go for it?
No, you yourself is telling that it is not up to the mark. So how you can send it the paper? You are telling that I have done some research which is not up to the mark. Up to the mark, matlab, it is not complete. So how you can send it for publication? You have to complete it and send it to the, matlab, jo bhi peer reviewer hai, usko clear, he should have a clear idea that what you have worked. Okay. You can't produce or give unclear data, right? Up to the mark, you yourself is telling that it is not up to the mark. Matlab, it is not completed. So koi peer review expertise will not accept your paper. You have to complete it and then send it for peer review.
Okay.
Hello. Any other difficulties?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Suraj, yes.
Ma'am, in some paper we see author does not have any competing interest. What does it actually mean, ma'am?
He's not having any conflict of interest means he is declaring that he has not funding.
Author.
Yes.
My question is, ma'am, in some paper I have seen that they have declared that author does not have any competing interest.
Competitive?
Competing. Yes. Competition type.
Yes. See, I told you that some people do with the intention of competition. They want to show this happens in research. They want to show, they want to compete. They want to let down. Grudge hai. They have some grudge against some another researcher. They want to let him down. They want to show that the method which was produced by him in his paper is wrong and my method is correct. So agar research conflict of interest, matlab, if you are doing research to let someone down, किसी को आपको नीचा दिखाना है कि नहीं उनका रिसर्च ठीक नहीं, इसीलिए अगर आप रिसर्च कर रहे हो उसको कॉन्फ्लिक्ट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट बोलते. Competing means you are trying to compete with your colleagues. You are आपके colleagues होंगे या किसी और institution के colleagues होंगे. आप competition में आपका research बना रहे. So basically, conflict of interest. वो again, it is an unethical practice. You are not going to conduct any research for competition purpose. Your research should be very fair. So competing means in terms of competition. You are competing with the other colleague, which is not correct.
Okay, ma'am.
I'm happy to answer any of your questions. You can even contact me personally or come to the department if you have any. We are there to help you always. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
One
sir.
more request from Dinkar Satonkar.
Yes.
Please share this PPT to us if possible, ma'am.
Okay, I made it personally. Okay, I'll try to send you some PPTs. Fine.
Or otherwise, you may give some notes type if you have.
Yeah, sure. I will give them certain notes if for that will help them, because this certain terms are there in publication ethics which people, the young researchers, are not aware of. So I will try my best to give them with some notes.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much
Thank you, all
for
of you.
giving very nice and explanatory lecture and very informative lecture to our research students. So on behalf of all the participants and on behalf of Research Committee Science College Nanded, and as a coordinator, I personally thank Dr. Sangvikar ma'am for delivering very nice and explanatory lecture to our students. Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.